Look at this now. Remember, any team with 5 wins after today will be in the playoffs. And look where New Orleans is. 3-4. They've beaten San Francisco and Chicago in the NFC, so they are very, very much alive. And, of course, the Redskins, they're not even alive. They're beating on the big guy's chest from Dallas. We're in the Superdome. I'm Tom Brookshire, along with Wayne Walker, and we'd like to really wish you a great, happy holiday season. Hope you had a great Christmas, and it's sort of fun being down here. Bourbon Street was a little quiet, wasn't it?
We had a great Christmas. I want to thank you. You went out of your way to make it special and get presents for all of us on the crew. He's really no Scrooge at all.
Well, sometimes I am, but all right, let's talk about it. What are the problems now? The Redskins come in with a defense that's great. They don't have to face Rodgers today, and it looks like the Snake Stabler will not play, too. Does that help Washington now?
Well, in a way it does, Brooke. Yeah, but that's really the story here today is that Bum Phillips and New Orleans Saints will be without Ken Stabler and George Rodgers, their #1 running back. Guido Merkins, who was a wide receiver, played some quarterback in college, has not played much up here, will be the quarterback for them today. I would expect that Washington will blitz him a lot. They've been very successful blitzing in the past, especially last week against the New York Giants. George Rodgers, Wayne Wilson will probably move in. We could see 1 back in the backfield for New Orleans today. We could see 3 backs in the backfield. I think it all depends on their field position.
And of course, the Skins have to worry about a little bit of a complacent attitude because you might have 12 people on stretchers if you don't go all out in this game, right?
I don't think that'll happen with them. They're a young team, and they're hungry, and they're on a roll, and they just want to take this all the way as far as it can go for them. Joe Gibbs perhaps a little concerned about his offense, although he said he wasn't. They've only scored 3 touchdowns in the last 17 quarters, but they've been moving the ball, they've been controlling the ball, and they've played on bad fields. They've played in the rain, and the mud, and in the snow, and so I think they'll probably get it together today with Joe Washington in there a lot for John Riggins. Let's go to Brookie now and get it going.
All right, Jeff Hayes is kicking off, and as you said, bah humbug. We're indoors, and it is gorgeous. Fumble down there. That's Wilson, Wayne Wilson. He falls on it about the 17-yard line, and he is one of the most dependable kickoff return men in all of football, and he darn near turned it over on the opening shot. The Redskins special teams have been fantastic. 4 years. 4 years. And this little meeting took place. That's Christian Adolph Jurgensen, Sonny Jurgensen in the middle with Snake Stabler on the right, Bum Phillips talking on the left. 3 great football minds concentrating on this 60 minutes of football you're going to be able to sit back and see. Offensively now is Guido Merkins, the quarterback, and we'll set the rest of the lineup in just a moment. Ball's on the 17-yard line. Toss back to the left. That's number. That's Wayne Wilson carrying the ball, and boy, they've got some kind of a good-looking offense. There's Guido Merkins, the young man from Sam Houston State. The only touchdown pass this year was on a fake field goal. Wayne Wilson, who's had 100 yards rushing against Chicago when he replaced Rodgers. Of course, there's Guy Jean, a local boy playing here. The rest of them, LaFerry, Edelman, Hill, Oubre, Brock, and Hobie Brunner, a big tight end. Pretty good-looking offensive play. They picked up almost 5 on the first toss. Out of the eye. Merkins takes it all the way back. Boy, good-looking hole. First down, New Orleans. That's Wilson making a real good move inside. Here's the defensive club for Washington. Mendenhall, Dave Butts, Darrell Grant, Dexter Manley playing super, the pass rushing side, and they've really tightened it up. Milkoff and Olkowitz Malott, they're called the blue-collar linebackers, but they're good. Jarris White and rookie Vernon Dean at the corners, and Tony Peters, Mark Murphy. It's really a good secondary, and they're all playing for Richie Pettibone extremely well. First down, New Orleans. The numbers are not too impressive on Guido. Quick drop. He finds it this time. Vernon Dean makes the tackle. Jeff Groff makes the catch on that. He's the leading receiver coming in.
Anticipating perhaps a blitz or something from Washington, and Merkins that time, just a 3-step drop, a quick pass, and get rid of the butterflies right away for him and get things underway.
I really like Merkins, though, you know. And Bum Phillips, you know how he grows on you anyway. Bum says, this kid's been waiting all his life to get a chance to start a game. He's not coming in to pick up somebody else's problems. He's starting out 0-0. Second down 5. His first reception was for 5 yards. Straight drop back. Got some heat. The blitz is on. He's going deep, and Vernon Dean was making the coverage back deep. And it was for growth again, number 86. A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure that time. Dexter Manley from the left side of your screen will come back. Good penetration up front. Merkins stays in the pocket, though. Kept his concentration downfield and overthrew the pass a little bit. Good play by Vernon Dean, number 32 there.
The first third down conversion for this Saints team. They picked up 1 first down. on 2 runs by Wilson. Guido Merkens going to do a little dash out to the side. He's a very good athlete. Now he's going to run for the first, or is he? It looks like he's going to be a little short of the first down sticks, but he gave it a shot. Rich Malott in on the tackle.
You just saw one of the wrinkles that Bum Phillips and King Hill, the offensive coordinator, put in for Merkens. The rollout action. He's very nifty, a good scrambler, a good runner, and you'll see a lot of that from him today. Sprint out action and rollout.
Staber will be in there helping too. Young Merkens told us that when he doesn't have to ask for help, Staber doesn't give him in, but if he wants something, Kenny's there. There's Nelms, of course. Got a chance to be the all-time punt returning yardage leader for the Redskins. He needs 26 yards today. And Erxleben, the big man from Texas, is kicking. He's having a good year punting, averaging over 40 yards a shot. This is a good return by for Washington. You got to be careful. This is not a great hit, but it may be very, very effective. It bounces at the 32. It'll be at around the 30. Ooh, takes a Washington bounce and now a Redskin bounce. There's no score yet. 12:39 left. Charlie Brown, Art Monk, two of the great outside receivers. Jacoby Grimm, Bosnick, Mays, Joe Stark, and Don Warren is beginning to catch some football. The number 81 out in the flat. That's Art Monk with his first catch. Picks up about 7 yards. He's bigger than he looks. Dave Waymer was there. Defensively, the 34, that Wade Phillips, the coach's son, put in here, and they are good. Bruce Clark, Dylan Moore, the old veteran in there, and young Jimmy Wilkes at the right end. Clark, of course, is the Penn State All-American by way of Canada. Ricky Jackson, Kovacs, Winston, and Nairn, obtained from the Broncos. They're good there. Dave Waymer, Johnny Poe, Russell Gary, the Nebraska youngster, and Frankie Waddle. It's a pretty good defensive club. Outside handoff to Riggins. Riggins gets out over the 45, covering up that ball very well. He's had a couple of fumbles in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and that's not like him. Wilkes was there to make the tackle.
Only needs 20 yards today, Brookie, to move into 7th place on the all-time rushing list in the National Football League to move ahead of Larry Zonka.
Sometimes he runs like Zonka late in the game, is special, huh?
A whole lot like it.
Some other scores now. Detroit, Tampa Bay 23-21. Lions really need a win badly. Green Bay 38-7. Falcons are either high or extremely low. Outside the slip screen. Number 88 has it. Ricky Walker, and good defense that time. I believe he might have lost a yard and a half. Ricky Jackson.
Ricky Jackson was on the blitz from the left side over here. He put some pressure on immediately, but it was a setup for a quick screen. A number 55, Rob Nairn, the right linebacker, was right on top of that play over in the flat. Usually when you blitz like that, you're going to be in single coverage, and the first guy out is yours if you're an outside linebacker.
A couple of other scores. San Francisco wanging Kansas City 26-13. They're not out of it yet, the 49ers, defending champions. And Pittsburgh beating New England 37-14, the final score. It's been a funny year. Exciting. Here's the blitz. Theismann's going long and gets the blitz. Open receivers, Charlie Brown. He's going to score, and they're probably going to call interference on number 25 anyway. That's Johnny Poe. Charlie Brown. You talk about downtown Charlie Brown. He's done that every game this year.
I believe that's his 6th touchdown, Brookie. He scored touchdowns, I think, the first 5 games. He's been a long ball threat for them all year long, and you saw why right there. That's his 7th touchdown of the season. This is right on the money right here, too. Not a chance for Poe, the defensive back, because he was beaten by about a step, and the ball was right there.
The amazing thing about Charlie Brown, Mike Burks, our producer, was talking about that every game you expect him to flatten out like a first-year guy should, and he keeps catching 6 balls or 7 balls or a touchdown. It was a 57-yard touchdown bomb. And now Mosley, who has no problems with field goals, but once in a while misses an extra point. This time is perfect. Wow. The New Orleans team came with a blitz, trying to put heat on Mr. Theismann, and suddenly it's 7-0. Washington on 7 touchdowns leads people like Chandler, Walker, and Stallworth from South Carolina State.
As Coach Joe Gibbs says that he runs about 4.5, but looks 4.8 because he's a glider, and he gets up on top of the defensive backs before they realize it.
Here's the kickoff now. Wayne Wilson and Andre Thompson waiting for Jeff Hayes' kickoff. His kicking off has been superb and really helped Mosley. It's going to be touchdown by Wilson. 20-yard line start on the touchback. And the Saints and the crowd included are a little stunned because this is a good defensive club that Wade Phillips has put together here. And Theismann just simply set up too quick and beat it with a good throw. 4 plays, 67 yards. And the blitz was on, so Theismann probably had that one in the air about 50-something yards on a 3 or 3.5 step drop. Well, that's a heck of an athlete. First down from the 20. Guido Merkins. If you haven't heard a lot about him, stick around. You might become part of his fan club. He's a good kid. Inside drive now to Wilson, who's tumbled and gets out over to about the 22-yard line. Mel Kaufman making the tackle. He's gotten in there, and Monty Coleman just can't beat him out now and get the job back.
And is ready to play, too, over on the left side. But number 55, Kaufman, a guy they call a gamer, he's coming out right now in a pass situation, has performed extremely well on the left side since the injury.
Boy, recognition of the different defenses that they put in, the nickels and all, that Richie Pettibone has, is the big problem for a young quarterback. Second down and call it 8. Merkins down looking for the screen. Quickly, Wilson beat tackle, gets away. Oh, what a move by Wilson to get back to the 19-yard line. He and Dexter Manley mix it up a little bit.
Well, it was a good play originally that time by Rich Malott, the linebacker over there. He was right in the middle of the screen, kind of fouled it up, and then a good hustle from the inside. Darrell Grant, number 77, who has been starting for 3 weeks in place of the injured Kerry Brooks, hustled out and made the stop.
You watch those linebackers closely, don't you, my friend? Of course, you only were on 55 for 15 years, right? Here's Merkins going outside. The toughest throw for a young quarterback is the deep sideline. He completed to Lindsey Scott, but short of the first. Pretty good throw, though.
Well, if there's any question about his arm, that one answers it right there. To the deep sideline and threw it well.
Well, Lindsey Scott's a rookie. He might have run his pattern a little too short, huh?
Exactly. You should get down past that yard marker. We all know that.
Erxleben is in for his second punt. Nelms is back. Erxleben in college at Texas was the darndest punter I've ever seen in the football, and also one of the great field goal kickers. And it looks like now he's ready to become one of the great kickers in this league. He's settled down a lot. He is aged. This is a tremendous punt. Maybe here's a 5.5 hang time. Nelms at the 27-8-yard line. Nelms has hit, their flags are down, but Nelms has really ganged at about the 34. Bill Hurley down there in a hurry.
I think we'll get an illegal block that time on Washington. Andre Thompson, number 89, was the initial player downfield for New Orleans, and he was hitting the back.
The hang time, the crowd obviously tells you it is against the Skins. The hang time was 4.48, and that was a 47-yard kick. And I'll tell you, the Saints came down with blood in their eye, covered. The officials for today's game, by the way, that's Chuck Heberling you see there, number 46. He's the ref. Let's hear him.
Illegal block above the waist, number 38 on the receiving team. First down.
The Redskins have a first down. 9:40 left in the first period. Wally Brown against the blitz. A great play. And now after a penalty for an illegal block, the Redskins will start with the ball on the 19-yard line, call it. And as we've said before, the Saints have lost 3 in a row, but it's only because they didn't score points. They played defense with anybody. Here's the reverse. Art Monk on the reverse. Nowhere to go, and he's hit hard at the 20. As 3 people converge there, including number 75, Bruce Clark.
Bruce Clark, number 75, number 1 draft choice a couple years ago. The Green Bay Packers played in Canada. Watch him fight out. A good spin block right there. A good move. You know, that's a quick reaction right there that you don't teach. And look at his feet getting out in the flat, and he made a good hit.
They said he went to Canada and just tore it up there. But Joe Paterno thinks he might have been the greatest natural football player he ever had.
He said it was the best pass rusher he's ever had at Penn State.
Big play by the defensive end. It's second down now. Call it 8. Here's the reverse handoff to Joe Washington. Washington's going to lose yardage back to the 16-yard line.
New Orleans showing you there why they've had such a good defensive year. Good team defense. Really know where to go. Everybody's staying home. Everyone's got an assignment. You take care of your own before you start worrying about what the other guy's doing. And when you do that, you're going to have a good, strong defense all the way across. Johnny Poe, the cornerback, came up that time and made a good play.
And just remember that the first guy to get 100 yards rushing against Bum Phillips' New Orleans team was Dorsett last week, and he got it on the last play of the game. Nobody else has ever been able to run for 100 against him in 23 games. Third down. Call it 13. Theismann. Oh. Art Monk thought he was roughed up, but there are no yellow flags on the field. No yellow flags on the field. A good defensive series for the Saints.
Well, the tight end, Don Warren, was knocked down that time as he left the line of scrimmage. Theismann wanted to go there, but didn't have a receiver. We'll take a look at it now. Warren in motion. Now, he's out of your screen at the left right here. Theismann's looking there. Watch when the ball goes over. You'll see Warren, number 85, down on the ground. He was up in the corner.
And so the Saints are banging people in that defense, the secondary area. Hayes has a pretty low average, but they only run back an average of 4 yards a shot against the Skins. This guy's a good run, effective punter. Gross is back. Oh, this is another great punt. This one by Hayes. Gross, clear back at the 32. Gross being chased. Oh, some kind of coverage. No return as Greg Williams pulls him down from behind. It's going to heat up. 7:58 indoors at the Superdome. 53-yard punt from the line of scrimmage. And great coverage by that team. Don't think you don't get into playoffs with special team play. And both of these teams are good at it. The continuing story of Guido Merkins. This little boy is called Guido Merkins III. And we're going to watch him today. He might end up being your star. 1st and 10. Long count. Drive by the tailback. That's Jimmy Rogers. 5 yards. That offensive line that time opened the defense up.
First down is going to be such a crucial and critical down for New Orleans today. They'll want to keep Merkins out of the sure passing situations. They'll want to have it 2nd and about 4 and 5 as much as they can. So Washington just can't tee off and change their defenses and blitz and confuse number 19 because he hasn't been around that long and he will get confused.
Good point. Picked up 5 on the first down. Here's Jimmy Rogers, another one of those Oklahoma running backs you keep seeing pop up in Pro Bowl, almost to the 40. Mel Coffin making another tackle. And this offensive line, you talk about a bunch of studdish people. The little one, I think, is Hill at the center spot. The veteran weighs about 260.
No huddle.
They're trying to catch the Redskins in the team change on the nickel, huh? 3rd and call it a short 4. Not for the first down. Not for the first down. Good defensive play. It's Dijon making the run there. Dexter Manley, I believe, helped make that tackle. There's Hokie, a local boy from LSU that shouldn't have made the team, but they said he just played so darn well at 212 or 13 pounds, they had to let him play.
Injured reserve last year. He was their number 10 draft choice, and it was hurt all year. They kept him around, and this year when they played him in preseason, he didn't do anything but good things.
Right now, Erksleben is in to kick on 4th and a foot. You're only trailing 7-0. Remember, this is a playoff spot for the Saints if they control today and win it. Erksleben taking a while, got a long time. This is a lower kick. This can be run back. That's Nelms. Nelms at the 11. Look out, Nelms. Nelms now hemmed up the 22 and dropped. Good tackle by Jimmy Rogers, the running back. These teams look like they're fired up. A 48-yard punt, a darn sharp return, and suddenly the teams have stalled out and they're kicking the blazes out of that ball. Years and a great NFL player was talking to his behemoths.
They've got a good theory on their offensive line. In fact, they're a total ball club. They keep everyone involved. They'll play 3 tackles during this ball game, 3 guards during the ball game. So they always have somebody ready in case there's an injury. Plus, it keeps everyone alert and ready to play.
Good point. Osherman is Warren. Handoff. Big John Riggins storms out for about 2 is all, though. And then he's stopped very abruptly. Riggins seems to like games where he can get into the 4th period and get sweaty and get a saddle on his back.
He's just had an amazing year and truly an amazing career. It just gets stronger and stronger. We've said it every game we've televised this year, the Skins. He gets stronger as the game goes on. We've got some great graphics to show you how strong he does get.
That's those Giants, huh? Last week. 2nd down and call it 8 yards. Theismann is 2 of 8, but he's got the big bomb. Now Theismann's being rushed. Hit from behind on a real good pass rush and almost intercepted. I believe it was 55. Nairn, Rob Nairn came to the outside, the Oregon State one, and almost picked it right off number 7's arm.
Looks like it was just a single-man blitz. Nairn from the outside, the right, kept working, kept hustling, and just reached an arm around and hit Theismann as he released. Good speed obtained from the Denver Broncos, and Bum Phillips is not only the coach here for John Macon Jr., but he's also the general manager. And I'll tell you, in 2 years, they have done some kind of a building job. This is a good-looking program.
Third down and 7. Rising. Going deep. Oh, Charlie Brown's wide open on the corner and cannot get to the ball. Hello.
Somebody lost something that time, whether it was a coverage or whether they were guessing. But Charlie Brown was wide open. A lot of time here now for Theismann. Good job up front by the offensive line. He stays in the pocket, and boy, he'd like to have this one back. Number 44, Dave Weimer, is the closest person to Charlie Brown, and he's about 12 yards away.
Good blocking up front. That time Theismann just didn't connect with Charlie Brown, but you got to keep him under control at all times. Everywhere he goes, you go. Here's Jeff Hayes in our punting duel. The last punt was 53 yards, remember now, by Hayes. Oh, this is a bigger one. This might be bigger than the last. Growth at the 25. Growth to the 27. Incredible. 52-yard punt from the line of scrimmage. Don't forget New Year's Day, the Cotton Bowl, the Pitt Panthers against the SMU Mustangs. Good gosh, from Dallas, Texas, the great Cotton Bowl. Of course, SMU has, I guess, one of the best teams they've ever had since Bill Walker and Company, or maybe when Meredith came through there. And here on CBS New Year's Day is the Cotton Bowl.
Power eye here, rookie.
The power eye. This is what gave Dallas so much trouble last week. A two-back set up with a third back. Merkins, he's a good runner. Guido Merkins. Guido Merkins is just short of the first down, but gets to almost the 35.
Now, that wasn't a frightened scramble. That's just not a guy going back there and looking at the first receiver, not seeing him, pulling it down. He went back, made the play action fake, looked downfield. Everyone was covered here. Now, he's still waiting another count or two. So, he's not pulling the panic button on this. He looked downfield, didn't have anybody open, doesn't want to risk an interception. He's a good athlete. He came back up and got very close to the first down.
Second down and 2. A short 2, really. There's Murphy coming up with a blitz. The Redskins blitz. Rogers runs straight at it. It's going to be awfully close. You brought up a good point, though. Now, Guido doesn't look like he's a large athlete, but in regular clothes, he is put together like an ox. He's
standing next to him last night. He looked like he was a good solid 205 pounds.
Here he looks like he's out of the PP&K program, but he's really about 195, 6'1", which is probably as large as most normal people.
The guy was discovered. Merkins was discovered by the Houston Oilers scout, Jorrell Wilson, who used to kick for Kansas City in a slow pitch softball league. The guy was doing everything, right? Hitting homers, tracking down balls in center field. He said, this guy's a great athlete. He's got to be able to play football. Went and talked to the city. I played in college, and they signed him right away, and he's been a handyman. He really has.
Rogers picked that one up by the length of the ball. So the Saints and their fans feel like they're on a roll. 4:12 left in the first period. 7-0. Guido Merkins, number 19. Misdirection handoff. Jimmy Rogers is, knocked back at the 31 by Malott. Good defense. Let's go to New York City now for Fred Musburger.
Rookie, here's one Wayne Walker will want to see. Kansas City was driving for the winning score against the San Francisco 49ers. Ronnie Lott will make a beautiful interception, and he'll go for a San Francisco touchdown, 83 yards, and the 49ers still have a chance at the playoffs. 26-13. Let's go back to Brookie.
Okay, Brett. Ronnie Lott. Ball is deflected, almost knocked away, and almost caught. Good play by Mel Kaufman's the one that bounced it around. I believe Tony Peters is the one that upended the receiver down there. That ball looked like it just caromed off one of the defensive linebackers' hands, and that was Kaufman. Third down and 14. Guido Merkins. Boy, what a big start. Your team right on the verge of its first playoff game ever. Talk about your pressure. Oh, he's being chased. He's sprinting out. He gets away from one man. Now he's in trouble. Throws back and catches Growth. Growth is going to be short of the first down, but he's out to the 46-yard line. 44-yard line, pardon me. Pretty good scramble by the quarterback and a darn good catch. 11-yard pickup.
He certainly had quick feet anyway. That was a planned rollout, of course. A straight drop back for about 2 or 3 steps, and then he dashes out to the right. Washington does that also. He got out there, scrambled around, got a second look, and found growth, but they're short of the first down.
You know, King Hill, the offensive backfield coach with these quarterbacks, said, my old teammate said that he just has to see a lot of these things, that, you know, that you can't just be told what it's going to look like. Merkins has got to experience it. Here's Erksleben now, the punting duo. This is a great hanger. It's a little shorter, but it's a hanger. Nelms takes it at the 21 on the dead run and gets it out to the 30-yard line on the nose, and the bodies are flying. 36 yards from the line of scrimmage. Teams are dueling between the 30s. St. Louis beating the Giants, but having to hang on to do it. The Giants came on strong late. Cleveland, 20-14, and things they say are going to happen in Houston. Maybe a coach fired there. It's not always the coach's fault either. Cincinnati, 24, Seattle, 10. Seattle has begun to seek its own level, perhaps. First and 10 now. Joe Theismann. One remaining back is Joe Washington. The hitch pattern to Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown, look out, he's loose. Gets almost to midfield. Charlie Brown just stared down Johnny Poe and then won the battle.
Charlie Brown looks like he's injured here too, Brookie, getting up a little bit daintily on an ankle or something like that. Boy, he's been a big play person for the Redskins this year.
Well, that's one of the things you worry about, isn't it? Coming into an indoor place where you've never been before at all, and get one of your key outside receivers hurt, or a John Wiggins hurt. Is he going to start trying to rest people?
I don't think he can. They want to go for that home field advantage here as long as they can.
First and 10 carry. Little Joe Washington. He can get in behind linemen, and you don't even see him. Then he just springs out, or he picks up about 4 yards. Bruce Clark making another tackle. Little Joe Washington, Oklahoma. Bud Switzer's had a lot of good runners there.
Well, I'll tell you, that number 25 right there, whenever he's in the ball game, you should just assign somebody to him to follow him around, because he's going to get the football a lot.
And he can catch it. It cost the Redskins. Bobby Beathard gave up a second-round draft choice. That's got to be one of the great second-round choices of all time. 1:15 left in the first period. Second down 6. That's Washington with a handoff. Gets out short of the first and short of the 40, and there's a fumble, and the Saints claim they have the football. Joe Theismann says he recovered the ball. Number 7. No, the Saints do get it.
Here it is again. Washington will take the handoff. Watch number 74, Derlin Moore. He almost made a play behind the scrimmage right here, but a good cutback by Washington inside. Moore fouled him up a little bit, and then an arm came in there and jarred that ball loose.
That's only the 6th fumble the Redskins have lost all year, and it was close then. He looked like he wasn't quite down, though. I think it was a good call.
Reggie Lewis, number 98, was the guy that stripped the ball out of there.
First and 10 on the 42. Guido Merkins back at the controls. Handoff to Wilson to the 43-yard line. They come from that tailback spot. Of course, we all know that Rodgers, the big man at 228 pounds, he gets that deep tailback spot from 8 or 9 yards back there. He gets a run. He's as big as the linemen, some of them that are tackling.
The tailback is at least 7 yards back behind the center on Bum Phillips' setup here, and comes to the line with his shoulders square, straight ahead, blocking by the line a lot, and he just picks his hole.
Charlie Brown has an injured ankle. It says he can return. We don't know if he will or not. Guido Merkins flagging, going deep and overthrowing, and it looks like Gross might have changed his pattern. At least the quarterback thought so.
You know, number 19 is really, you know, he told us last night that he wasn't nervous, but he's got to be excited. He really does. Making his first start here, and he's going to be just a little bit jumpy and perhaps a little bit strong right now, because he's got some adrenaline going through that system right now. He'll handle it well here, except for the throw. Good job up front for him. He pump fakes right there, and then just throws it long. Like you said, it may have been a broken pattern, but needs to have passed everyone.
Well, they picked up that inside linebacker blitz in pretty good shape. 3rd down and 9. Tough one to pick up. Stays in there. Merkins tries for Duckett, and they're going to call interference on the 41. Jarris White. Against Don Bass. They're going to call that he made contact.
Defense number 45, first down.
It's hard to play defense these days.
Good composure this time by Merkins. He stayed in here. He was getting some pressure. The thing was collapsing. It looked like a fairly good defensive play to an old defensive player. The offensive guys would say it's sure.
Back to Wilson. Wilson makes the corner. Inside the 40 to the 36-yard line. Clock is still running with 7 seconds left in the first period. This may be the last play of the first quarter, but the crowd's going to tell you they like this drive. Vernon Dean made the tackle. The crowd will tell you they're hot, and the Saints are maybe heading for the playoffs. My guy, down here at the Superdome, they're Saints. Boy, under Bum Phillips. Last year they win 4. This year they're going for it. They've lost 3 in a row, but they're all close, good games and against tough teams.
They had won 3 in a row at one time, which tied the franchise record. So they got people excited down here, and they're coming back to watch them again. And what they've had is what they've seen when they've come back is just great effort by a young team. You know, Bum said he really likes this team. He said they don't get down, they won't stay down, and they'll never give up.
Well, Guido Merkins can't because Bobby Scott, who hasn't played football in a year, is his only backup. Stabler cannot play. Here's Rogers ripping inside that 30-yard line. He doesn't get to the 30. That's Mark Murphy making the tackle. Boy, he looks quick. He really looks quick.
That was off the power eye that time. Some good blocks thrown, in particular by number 46 you're looking at right there, Hokie Gajan. He was a lead blocker. He took on Jarvis White, the cornerback, who showed up over on the point of attack right there. And there was a collision. Watch this. All the action will be going to the left. Good blocking out front.
Looks like he might have made the first down by inches. Well, that's a good look in that offensive line for the Saints. Is darn good. Big Stan Brock, they ran right off his side. It is a first. There's the snake, number 16. Graying the beard a little bit. Just had his birthday. I was in the team room with him last night when he's saying happy birthday to Snake. He is their leader. He is a classy act boy and a great player. And he'll help Guido a little bit. He's a very unselfish guy. First and 10. Deep handoff to Rogers. Oh, Rogers is hit hard. No gain, and Rogers may be slow getting up. Mendenhall really beheaded him.
Oh, Manley came down, too, from defensive end spot on the outside right. That was a great hit. Let's take a look and see who got it. Number 77 is Grant. There's Olkowitz, 52. On it was Big Dave Butts. You almost ought to know that. He came over and did it with one arm.
I knew it wasn't that nice Mormon boy, Mendenhall. Big Dave, number 65, playing as well, if not better than he's ever played in his career. Here's Guido back on second down and 10. Big chase screening. May get somebody. No, they're not going to call Kaufman. But it looked like he grabbed the receiver and spun him around. Dave Butts put some pressure on, but that's what you want on the screen. Wilson thought he was grabbed by Kaufman.
Butts got back there a little quicker than the Saints wanted him, and Merkins had to throw off balancing before he really wanted to, and you see Kaufman out there massaging number 30 Wayne Wilson.
I think Wilson had a good complaint. But the linebackers always turn their back and walk away, right? It's like, you know, there's a bottle of TNT going to blow up right behind them or something. Well done, Reno. Third down and 10. Here's a big play now. The Saints got to get back in the game. They got to keep this one going. Everybody stacked to the left. On third down and 10. Merkins is rolling. Going to run with it. He's got some room to run. Merkins has the first down.
We've said so many times that's just so demoralizing. It just kills the defense, and that's the thing you really worry about when you're playing a guy like Merkins with great athletic ability. He goes back. You're playing your defense now on his rollout right here. You've got your defense played as well as you're going to play it. You're downfield. You've got everyone covered. He can't find anybody to throw to, and he comes out of there on a broken play and not only picks up the first down, but gets it down in there deep. They're at the 13-yard line now.
A 19-yard scramble by Guido Merkins, and you're right, he's not afraid and he likes it. His first big start.
Well, it makes you think on defense, what do we have to do? We played the defense as good as we can play it, and they still got a first down.
And Houston for Bum. Phil Bum is the fellow in that real good-looking dress shirt to the left there. That's the way he dresses. He just relaxes like he always is, letting his offensive people talk. There's Stabler helping Merkins. No, that isn't Snake.
Scott.
That's
Bobby
Scott there.
over there. the other backup quarterback.
This is when they don't give you a lot of help, but the old bum is saying just points. Just the points is what we need right now, Guido. Guido came back one time at Houston the last game of the season and played safety man. Then last year he was the leading receiver for this New Orleans team. So you talk about a guy that can do a lot of things for you.
Well, they're probably going over with him right now. Of course, when you get inside the 20-yard line, you have a certain amount of plays you can use from inside the 20.
There's Snake now. Stabler's to the left.
He's not worried about this at all. So they're just going over the short list with him. They can run inside the 20 and inside the 15 and what they think will work just so they get it in his mind again.
The main thing is one got the first down, and now he's got the crowd behind him. Let's see if we can hear him when they come back out. I believe they're going to give him a heck of a hand here. They're getting ready. Since '66, the team was up and down like a yo-yo. Now they've got a program. And the year when you could sort of step in maybe and steal a $68,000 check at Pasadena is here. 40 new players in a year and not quite a half. And I'm telling you, they're big and they're strong. First and 10 on the 13. Oh, the toss. Back to the weak side. That's Wilson. Wilson spins and gets inside the 10. Mendenhall made the tackle. What a move. There's a flag on the play. They're going to call defensive holding. It'll be first and goal when they get through. It's an automatic first down. Now, where are they going to place it? And I'm telling you, Wilson, he did a dance in a full spin.
He was coming in. Had a good lead, Brock, from Gaijan.
Unnecessary roughness. Number 32 on the tackle. First down.
And you know what they also did on that play, Brookie? They pulled the center. Watch the guy snapping the ball here. Watch him pull and lead this play. Closed off Olkowitz from the inside.
Dave Hill, huh?
John Hill, a good effort in the center position on a pull.
First and goal as Vernon Dean got unsportsmanlike. The cross to Rogers. Rogers has a touchdown. Bum. He checks the time on his clock. But that's the second touchdown. The big block was by Wayne Wilson, who had moved to fullback.
Jimmy Rogers gets the score behind, if you've ever watched USC play, that's just student body right, that play. Toss it out there with a bunch of people in front.
A 58-yard drive in 9 plays. A big one, the hustling Guido Merkins' first down run on 3rd and long. And then the touchdown by Rogers. There's Anderson's kick.
3 yards, keeps his legs driving.
Neither one are playing. There's the drive. And now you're looking at the young man from Denmark that went to Michigan State by accident. Morton Anderson is kicking off, and he's got a leg, they said, like a slingshot. Oh, a little chippy trying for the onside. Taking it to the 30-yard line by number 58. Stuart Anderson, let's see if he came up with it. Got a little action now. Flags are down. A lot of players are out in the middle of that field. A little bit of a cute half-wedge shot.
Oh, you're right on your call. That is one of the ways to kick an onside kick.
Penalty against the Redskins.
You want to chip it up over that first line and then put your speed guys over on the right side and have them catch it after it goes 10. He hit it a little harder than he wanted to.
The kickers are devious people anyway. You can't trust it. The mark off by Mr. Herberling.
Illegal block above the waist. Number 39 on the return. First down.
The touchdown run again that gave us a tie ball game. As we said, people out in front. Number 30 was Wayne Wilson. And a good effort by Rogers.
Jimmy Rogers' second touchdown rushing. It's 7-7, and the crowd is setting up such a din. Outside handoff to Riggins. And now the Redskins go, oh, he's hit hard and dropped. Good play by number 51. Paul Whitney, or Whitney Paul, my Colorado friend. He's the fellow that high jumped about 6'10" back in college. I remember that.
Take a look at him right there. He's 6'3", 230 pounds, and it looks like he's about 210, but he did high jump 6'10" in college. He runs about a 4.5 40. One of the good athletes on this team. I don't know how they got him from Kansas City, but they did.
Isn't that the truth? Second down and 10. No gain for Riggins. That's Monk in motion. Theismann back. Oh, the pocket's there, but he has trouble going for Charlie Brown. There's no flag. And Johnny Poe wins this duel. Theismann had that pocket. It was intact, but it was being pushed around a little bit. They're trying to keep Theismann under control, not let him do much sprinting out to get the extra time. He did have 4 interceptions against the Giants, but they were in the first half. In the second half, he controlled the Redskin offense very well. Numbers on his first quarter. Back. Number 7, he's going to run now. They let him out. Theismann's going to run. Oh, and he's hit hard at the 32 as Jim Kovach and Dave Waymer are on the tackle.
Now, usually you'll see the quarterback hook slide down in this situation, but Joe knew that it was 4th down coming up, and he had to get the first down, perhaps at any cost. Tells you what they think about this ball game. He's given up his body right here for it. He's not going to go down easy. Watch him put his head down and go on in there.
Wow, double team tackle by the linebacker and the secondary man. Here's Jeff Hayes back. Kicking from the 20-yard. It's a tremendous punt. It is a tremendous punt. That's Jeff Groth letting it go. Uh-oh. Redskins are going to let that one roll to the 7-yard line. What a punt. It's 7-7. The Cardinals go back to his alma mater as they face UCLA and Larry Farmer out there. Don't forget, Louisville, UCLA, NCAA basketball Tuesday night here on CBS. And that fellow right there shows you what the lifestyle's like around here. He's only 12 years old.
One of the wise men. They brought him in to help figure.
People jump. Leon Gray playing at left tackle, as Wayne Walker told you earlier.
Ball start, number 72, offense.
Leon jumped a little bit. He was obtained in the Archie Manning trade. Now they've got 3 good tackles. That time he just tipped a little bit on Dexter Manley.
Number 72 did not start the game. Dave LaFari started, but as we mentioned, some will give all 3 tackles a lot of playing time along with the guards.
Ball start, first down.
And you know, that's the first time you see Dexter Manley live. It's different than seeing him on film, too. You got to really get a quick drop and get ready, because Dexter's quick coming from that outside. So it's first down and 15. All right, Redskins now getting a little bit nasty. It's like, okay, so it's that kind of a day you want, huh, New Orleans? Okowitz making the tackle on Wilson. Maybe picked up the line of scrimmage. A couple of bruises. Rushing defense. They're giving up 112 yards a game, and sometimes those stats don't mean much. The team plays better than that when they have to. They've been very, very stingy. Second down and 15. Guido throwing from the end zone. Wilkinson hit. Can he fumble the ball down? There's a pile at the 2. Darrell Grant, number 77, made it tough, and somebody grabbed the quarterback's arm from behind. He was lucky to get out of there alive.
And barely did.
Grant's done some job filling in for Perry Brooks. Laverne Torgerson was telling us that he plays the run better and he plays the pass, and they thought it was going to be the other way around.
It did. There's the defensive coordinator on the right. Is Richie Pettibone, the former safety for the Bears and the Rams.
He was some player, too. Here's Guido now throwing on a rollout left from the end zone. Oh, my goodness. He's being chased around the end zone by Dexter Manley, and he gets out and is dropped on the 4-yard line as Guido had to run for his life.
He's turning a 1-yard gain into a thrill trip, isn't he?
He's not too happy, but the crowd that time inhaled and didn't exhale till he safely got out of that blue end zone.
And what do you do when you're a defensive lineman and the quarterback's running around back there? Well, if you're Darrell Grant, you keep hustling. That's one of the things that he's been doing so well is hustling. He's down there on the cut. There comes Greedo, meantime, around the bend over here and picks up a yard and gets out of trouble. 4th down.
That big Brad Edelman is some left guard, the kid from Missouri, huh? Here's Nelms back standing right almost at midfield. And Erxleben, of course, is deep in the end zone. Here's the punt by Erxleben. It is a pretty good kick, but it's twisty now at the 45 Nelms. Nelms, ooh, inside. Now he's being pulled out at the 38-yard line by Peterzak. Jim Peterzak making the tackle as special teams are extraordinary today. 9-12 action as Theismann picked up the tempo, going deep on a 2-step drop, overthrows Charlie Brown at the 19-yard line, covered by Johnny Poe. And it looked like that time Theismann and the company were trying to take advantage of perhaps the wrong personnel being in for the Saints. It was a hurry-up job. That's Joe Washington, number 25 in there. And of course, Gibbs is in the yellow shirt, right in the middle as they signal on both sides. There's one live one and one that's not the dummy, but that signal doesn't mean anything. Gibbs is some coach. 2nd year. They've won 14 of 18 since the last part of this last season and the first part of this one. Art Monk in motion. Drive to Joe Washington. Nowhere to go. Great defensive play by number 75, Bruce Clark. He's strong.
Clark has made 2 or 3 big plays here already this afternoon.
Scores from elsewhere. Chicago leading the LA Rams 17-6 in the 2nd quarter. Philadelphia trailing Dallas 17-14. That's pretty close in the 2nd quarter. Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders 17, Denver nothing. Broncos could barely get out of Denver, out of the snowdrifts. Theismann going to the outside. Great throw by C. Number 80 makes a good catch. Virgil came from nowhere. The young man out of Troy State, and the ball was right on the money.
Had 2 receivers out at the same side. Now what helped this pattern right here is Joe Washington comes out shallow. And that leaves it open for Sadie. Watch him run his outside pattern here on Poe and open about 4 or 5 yards.
He's got good speed. He had a little bit of a hand problem earlier in the year, but you figure you've got Art Monk and you've got young Brown, and now you've got Virgil Say in there. Here's Theismann. He's moving. Looks like the Redskins are a little teed up. Drop. Got the car. Now he's being raced. Racing out of the pocket. Theismann's behind Stark to tackle. And now he's going to try to go for the touchdown. Fumbles it at the 2. People will tell you, maybe the official will. He did. Herbeling just said, New Orleans recovery. Russell Gary made the recovery of Joe Theismann's fumble, and the 2nd one for the Skins today.
Well, this looked good for Theismann for a while. He made a good move getting away right there from Ricky Jackson. Moved outside. He had Don Warren and another blocker in front of him, and looked perhaps Stark right there. If he'd stayed outside, he could have gotten in. But you see what happened and the result.
They're teams of destiny, and I really believe so. I believe that a team can get on a roll, and I've watched this bunch together last night, sort of having Santa Claus come in. A gal came in and laughed and gave them presents, and they're a very much together bunch. I'm talking about the New Orleans Saints, and under this man, they might have the magic right now, and this is a heck of a good year to have it, because you can steal it all. Merkins back in the end zone, just overthrowing. Let's see who it was. That's Andre Thompson, the former Green Bay Packer. Looked like he might have had a step or 2.
Merkins doing the safe thing, though. He's throwing it out there where it's not going to be intercepted. If this guy's not open and doesn't get it, no one else is. I mentioned he played quarterback in college, but 2 of those years he was in a veer. They were running a veer offense, so he didn't get to throw the ball very much. Bunk Phillips told me last night, though, that we know how good he is because all year in practice, running the other team's offense. He's picked us apart.
Rich Monty is in there, and Gaijan, the young man from LSU, for blocking. Guido throw it out of the pocket and overthrows. Monty, the Penn Stater, on the sidelines. And that's the toughest throw for a young quarterback, or anybody, really. You got to hump up to throw that 15-yard deep sideline. You got to be able to put it on a string.
And he was getting some pressure. They're not back there sacking him, but they're getting a good surge and getting their arms up, and he's having to throw through arms and look around people and things like that. And unless you're used to it, it's tough.
Remember, there is a certain rally-around quality that a team has, especially when a quarterback is in there for really the first time. They'll try like mad to make him pull the job off. This is a tough call here. 3rd down and 10. Here comes the blitz. The safety blitz. It's a good throw. And the first down for New Orleans. Gross makes a good jumping catch. And Merkins goes down.
All right, great read by Merkins that time. Washington blitzed about 9 people. Here it is right here. You'll see everybody coming. The 2 linebackers, Murphy, the safety, throws the outside pattern here to Groth, who is really their most sure-handed receiver, and a guy that both Stabler and Merkins look to in situations like that. When they really need it, they'll go to Groth. Stabler told me that he's like a Boletnikov with a little bit more speed, and a pretty good hit there.
Vernon Dean had the inside taken away, so Groth ran the outside pattern. A good first down play and a gutsy one. 1st and 10, the toss. Back to Wilson. Wilson gets out over the 20 to the 22 or 3-yard line. Dave Butts making another tackle. That is some battle on the line of scrimmage. There's some real hawks.
Stan Brock, the tackle that you were talking about, over on the right side, working that time against Matt Mendenhall, and that was just a standoff that time. They cut it back up inside into Butts, and it was just good running that picked up that yardage, because actually the defense was played pretty good that time.
A 5-yarder against a good defense. Number 19 is Guido Merkins. Gross in motion, toss back to the strong side. Wilson has the running room. The tailback gets to the 30-yard line.
Well, the center, John Hill, did an excellent job again that time. Tommy, he's playing a fine game at center. He basically almost pulled again that time and got Olkowitz. Now you'll see Hill snap and go to the left right here. Now watch him on number 52 help out on that block. And good tough running by Wilson before Murphy comes up to make the stop.
Wilson's having a pretty good day. There's John Hill, used to play with the Giants, and he's built himself up and taken care of himself, and he's doing super. Here's Guido Merkins. He's back. Oh, he's got open receiver. A good try by number 85. That's Brenner, big kid from SC. He said that Guido was talking about Brenner last night, said he's sort of like a forward in basketball. He's a good rebounder.
Throw it around him, and he said he'll use his body to keep the defensive back away. Bum says he's not a good dancer, but he'll dance every dance.
That sounds like a Bum Phillipsism, right? Wilson, by the way, has 39 yards on 9 carries. Boy, this is a good defense, though. Notice how they've taken a little bit of trouble, and now they've stopped her down. Here's Merkins quickly. He's going to be sacked this time. That's Livenstein, the young second-year man that made the tackle sort of went around the pocket on him, didn't he?
Good effort by number 79 as he fell back in to make that tackle. The rookie from Nevada, Las Vegas. Sackenstein, they called him.
You always wondered how they could recruit out of Nevada, Las Vegas, huh? If you've ever been out there, I guess it's obvious.
Yeah, you wonder how guys get to the practice field out there.
Or the classroom. 3rd down and 13. This is a big play. It's a 7-all tie. Here's the handoff. Wilson finds a hole. Now he's going to be into trouble. Pulled down on a good tackle by Murphy, the 34-yard line. Darn, Murphy gives you a lot of effort, doesn't he? He was the player rep, and you know how much time he put into that negotiations, and he's come back and just played great.
Look at Hill again, the center. Now, we've seen this the last 3 or 4 weeks a couple of times. Dan Deerdorf did a lot of pulling for St. Louis a couple, 3 weeks ago. Here's Hill again, the center, leading this play out. That's out in front before Murphy makes the stop coming over from free safety. Not something you see very often, the center pulling and leading those plays.
It's amazing that they can do that and still get the snap off. Here's Erxleben against Nelms. Russell's punt from the 25. It is a tremendously long kick, but this is returnable. Nelms at the 25. Oh, being hemmed in. Saints got him at the 31. He's close to Eddie Brown's record on punt return yardage, but I don't think he's broken it yet. 7-7 with 3:48 left before half. For now, with 42 yards, I believe, on 5 returns, so he now is the all-timer over Fast Eddie Brown out of Virginia. Nelms is going to the Pro Bowl, probably again this year as a punt returner. He doesn't know what the fair catch signal's all about. 1st and 10 for Theismann and the Redskin offense. Except for the one bomb when he caught Charlie Brown with the 56-yarder. The Saints have pretty much been in the right place at the right time. Kovacs making another tackle. Good young defensive ball club. The 34, which Bum Phillips says it's the only defense. You can't trap it. You can't do anything with it. He said against the 4 you can do things, but not against a good 34. And you don't have to have the greatest players to play it. I think he's got some good ones, though. 2nd down and 6, and picked up a 4. Inside hand, oh, Riggins gets out, runs over people for a 1st down. That's vintage John Riggins right there.
And that's my feeling of one of the things you can do against the 3-4 is run right straight at it, at those 2 inside linebackers. They're set off the ball a couple yards, and they're uncovered. You get your guards out on them right away. If you can handle the nose tackle at the center, and then also throw a lead back up in there, you've got something going. Now, that time, the nose tackle went around the block, and a big, strong guy like Riggins, he just broke the arm tackle and picked up yardage. So if there is a weak spot in the 3-4, it's right straight up the middle.
And the Redskins caught it. Here's Theismann going quick against the blitz. Oh! He may be out of bounds. Charlie Brown may have been out of bounds. He jumped over Johnny Paul, but I believe he's an illegal receiver. But whether they call him back or not, that's some kind of a gymnast. What a catch. 58-yarder. Poe is arguing now. Theismann says it's good.
Oh, what a sensational effort.
Number 25, recused, touchdown.
They called Poe, the cornerback, for pass interference on it, on Charlie Brown. Now watch this. Remember 2 weeks ago when we were talking to Charlie Brown in St. Louis, and he told us that one of the guys that made him a better football player was David Thompson, the basketball player. Watching him, and
he's out of bounds.
Way out of bounds.
He's out of bounds. He's an illegal receiver. And if I was Johnny Poe, I'd go out and sit on the midfield stripe and not leave until they check it. He told us he had a 36-inch vertical jump. Talk about Charlie Brown, but I'll tell you, they better get the replay. Defensive backs of America, arise. Herberling's trying to get Theismann out of this because, of course, Joe threw it.
We were talking before the game, remember how much the officials dislike to have the replay seen inside the stadiums.
Yeah, but that's part of the game.
I think so.
You know, if I was playing defense right now, I'd guarantee you know, I'd have a replay machine on my bench.
What happened? He was looking at the pass interference over there and wasn't looking at Charlie Brown's feet.
Charlie Brown was illegal before the interference took place. Now what do you call? Illegal pass, you lost it down. The defense is coming back out on the field. They think that they have a leg up, at least in sort of a disposition taking time.
It's worth another look, that's for sure. A great catch by Charlie Brown. I don't know whether it's going to hold up or not, but the important thing right now is watch his left foot.
Now he's out of bounds before he gets possession of that ball. I rest my case. It's their job to figure out what it is.
That's what they're doing.
Everybody in this beautiful arena is up on its feet. I've never seen all the fans standing.
And their eyes on those 4 people right there.
Boy, some of the fans are really pretty that are standing. Number 58 with his back to us there, that's Bill Quimby. There's Bum Phillips, who's had some bad calls in his time against him.
The ball was touched by the defender and the offensive man came back in from out of bounds and caught the ball. It is a touchdown.
You can't be a legal receiver once you've left the playing field. Otherwise, you could come off the bench.
That's what I always thought. Here we go.
He's out of bounds this first.
Out of bounds with that left foot back in. Then we got some controversy, no question.
Mosley's kick is good. The crowd is still on its feet. And here they're very close to the box, and we can hear their comments. I hope you can. It's alibi. That's the one thing all the years in Houston and all, but he said, I have had some of the worst flags dropped on my club when we were in playoff position, and this is one of them right now. And he is just saying, if he's out of bounds, is he an illegal receiver or not? It makes no difference about the defensive back knocking the ball back in.
You know he's turning right now, and I really admire his composure.
Yep.
And the way he's taking it and handling this. And now, if he loses his poise out there, his ball club's going to look at him, and they may lose theirs. But he's saying, you know, it's all right. So we didn't get it.
Well, I was always
but we
taught
still got a ways to go.
Back. Anytime you force the receiver out of bounds, he could not come back in. I don't care what.
Rookie, I agree with you 100%. Unless they sneak something in there that we don't know about, and maybe they didn't have to sneak that because I certainly haven't stayed up nights reading the rule book and every little addition to it. Or every little nuance of it. But Charlie Brown is definitely out of bounds right here. The ball was hit by the defensive back. No problem at all there. And he got both hands on it.
All we know is that Charlie Brown officially has 2 long touchdown catches and passes caught.
And Washington leads 14-7.
14-7 lead. Jeff Hayes waiting back on the goal line are Duckett and Andra Thompson. That's Duckett at the 15 to the 25-yard line. Good return. Now, the best way to settle down the crowd is to be successful with this offensive series. 25-yard kickoff return by Duckett. What a tough call. What a tough call. I don't care which side of the line of scrimmage you're on. That is tough one. You take them when they give them to you, but it's tough.
Well, that's one I'm definitely going to have explained to me.
There's Hilo Merkins in the saddle again, staying right in there. He's pumping, got some time. Oh, what a catch. What a catch by number 80, Lindsey Scott. Are they going to give him the catch? The crowd can influence this call.
And I think they have to...
Oh, no. They're going to call it an interception. Mark Murphy came up with it. The two came down with it together. Lindsey Scott, the rookie, turned one way, and the veteran Murphy turned the other.
That's another courageous call at this point in time.
Bummer. I don't blame him for being upset.
Lindsey Scott will be on the receiving end of this. The free safety. Murphy is over. He made contact. He has it. That's a good call. That's a good call from that angle.
Good call by Murphy. Good play by Murphy. That was a good interception. Theismann being chased. The crowd is still up booing. And Theismann now is run into his own bench. Bodies are falling. And Bum is still hot. I've never seen him quite this upset about things. I can understand it.
Well, no question on that second call right there. That was a definite interception by Murphy.
Bum is still working on Terry Gerke there. The things beyond your control. Bud Grant a week ago told us that's what you can't worry about. The things that are not within your power to regulate. Second down and call it a yard. Washington to the 48-yard line for the first down. Kovacs making the tackle. 14-7. 2 bombs. Theismann to Charlie Brown. The second bomb blew up.
I just got word in my headset, Tom, that we will get word about that call from the NFL after they confer with the officials at halftime. So we'll be waiting anxiously for that.
I can't wait. To you at the public service of the National Football League and number 25, Joe Washington. Joe, thank you, buddy. Some kind of a game. Everybody's sort of simmering now. They're going to go out and get a few nachos and a quaff of wine and get ready for the second half. But this crowd's going to be into this second half, just like they have been so far. First and 10. Redskins still in their own territory and very much on the road today. But not much of a rush. Now every call becomes debatable. Even those which aren't. The Jets really hammering the Vikings, 21-0. Vikings have lost Ahmad Rashad and some people. We thought they'd play better than that. Chicago now leading the Rams 20-13. That's not yet at halftime. John Rams have a lot of good people out there thinking all going to go to the right ballpark on the right day. Philadelphia and Dallas. Mattered at 14 all. Second down and 10. Art Monk in motion. Here comes the blitz. Theismann very coolly throws down the middle. What a great play. Art Monk caught the ball at the 15, and I'm telling you, Joe Theismann waited and squeezed off a perfect pass. He was in bounds on that one.
That was a great throw by number 7 and a good pattern by Monk. He was in motion across the formation. He's in motion right there. You see him go out of the picture to the right. Now Theismann needs some time and gets it from the offensive line. Pump fakes once, and that's Monk again downfield running a deep post pattern, and the ball is right on the money. For 28 was Bill Hurley, the defensive back who came over and finally made the tackle.
A 36-yarder against a good defensive, aggressive blitz. And pretty well covered. He just went over the lower backs and just in front of that safety man.
Monk is having a great year, as is number 7, Joe Theismann. Monk came into this game with 30 catches. That led the Redskins.
The fellow on the right of Joe Theismann, on the right of number 7, is the fellow named Charlie Taylor, who used to cut a wide swath through secondaries in this league, the all-time Redskin receiver. Now he's the receiver's coach. Don't forget, coming up at halftime from the studio back in New York, where it's 70 degrees outside, we're told, there, Brent and Irv will have all the scores and the highlights of this really dizzy weekend on this next to the last game of the regular season, but before we get into what they call the Super Bowl tournament. Brent and Irv at halftime. And, of course, we have our secret, the secrets of the NFL, our little saga that we lay on you people every week. Theismann is 7 of 13 for 198 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a flag. Monk's in motion. Theismann, good throw. Warren has it. Warren's about the 6-yard line. Let's call it 7. He's beginning to catch throws now. 4, 5, or 6 every game. Usually just a workhorse, but this year he must have improved his technique getting off or something.
Without question, number 85, the tight end, Unworn, is having his best season of a 4-year career.
Russell Gary, the Nebraska Cornhusker, made that tackle. You can see the time before halftime. It's 14-7. Theismann can't get it straight. I'll burn one. This crowd was stunned several times, really. Charlie Brown's first touchdown catch. It certainly was a great play. When Guido came back and the team had a real good drive and they scrambled around and got their touchdown. The Saints did to make it 7-all. Then the big controversy. And Bum Phillips is a little shook. That's his son, Wade. Wade Phillips to his right now, the defensive man with 34. His father and son discussing this. And that ain't any patronage. That's a good coach. Bum's son is a real good football person. And so is Joe Gibbs. Of course, Joe has been with John McKay at Tampa Bay, Coryell, both at St. Louis and San Diego. I guess he was responsible for some of Fouts' success when he was out with the San Diego Chargers. And he certainly hasn't hurt Joe Theismann. And Joe Theismann is a quality quarterback, more under Gibbs than anybody else.
he has worked well with the head coach, and they have gotten to a point where they really have a lot of confidence in each other, and Theismann has confidence in this offense, what Gibbs has given him to work with. He doesn't throw the ball in places it doesn't belong anymore. That's probably the #1 thing.
They even like each other now. That's what Coach Gibbs said the last time, isn't it? This is nice. I've been on a lot of teams where nobody liked the quarterback except on Sunday. He's a good one, #7 is. He's going to call another timeout. The Saints are doing something over there. Either they're yelling something or just shifting around and not giving him the same front. Now Theismann's being called back. Get over here and let's get the play on. I think the Zebras are afraid. The Skins are out of timeout, according to our report here. Heberly has got to keep control of the game because the crowd, as we said, they're going to become too important a part of it if he doesn't.
A better way of spending your holidays than officiating one of these games, couldn't you, Brookie? This has been a tough day for him.
Day after Christmas, can you believe this? 1:04 left. The 14-7 Washington lead, but they're driving. Theismann being hit. He fumbles the ball. I believe Washington will have the football. The Saints never did get control.
That'll be the call, and they won't like that one either.
Boy, Bum Phillips is going to be out on the midfield stripe. They never picked up, they never got control of that ball. Kovac forced the fumble, and then it was a bar of soap.
Safety blitz by the Saints. Everybody's coming. Theismann rolls out to get away. Ricky Jackson hits him. Kovac from behind. He's the one that popped it loose. A mad scramble. Now watch this. Keep in mind, no one has control yet, so it's still Washington's ball. It's out of bounds, and it still belongs to the Skins.
Ball looks like it was made by Bristol Myers. They kicked it all the way back there. Now all Bum is doing is writing down the name of the officials.
Or a note to take home at halftime. But that was a good call. That was a legitimate call on that fumble.
And so the Saints defense is still hanging in there. Theismann, the time, being chased. 47 seconds left. Theismann, nobody showing up, now steps out of bounds at the 19. Oh, Jeff Theismann is playing a great game, but he is not the most popular person to come playing into New Orleans.
Very resourceful. It's a great thing for your quarterback to have, is that added mobility. We saw Merkins do it to Washington, where he scrambled around when nothing was there, picked up an important first down that led to a touchdown by New Orleans. And Theismann doing the same thing on that play, setting up a field goal attempt by Mark Mosley, and you know his story.
21 out of 21. 4 of those from 40 yards and over. This is from the 36-yard line, it'll be officially. Dead, solid, perfect. 38 seconds left. Mosley acted like it was warm-ups.
Well, it was. The minute he did, he turned around and headed for the bench.
What a controversial but exciting second quarter. And please don't misinterpret what we're saying. This game is a game of inches. It's a game of miscalculations and good anticipations. And what the heck if we can't enjoy it? 17-7, though. A good 36-yard field goal by the man with the heavy right leg and a big heart.
You know what he said, Rookie? He said, now that I've got the record and now that we've won some games with it, my goal is to go through the entire season without a miss. He said, can you imagine all the great kickers? And he's talking about the Groza and people like Lou Michaels and things like that. People who have never Stenerud, who have never gone through a season without missing a field goal. He said, that's my goal. That's what I want to do. The amazing thing about this record is over the period of time he set it, from the end of last year and in this season, he kicked in bad weather. He's kicked in snow, mud, and rain. This is his first chance to kick indoors. He converted that one, so he's handled everything he's had to handle. And I wish him the best.
And you know, also,
great record.
it also means that Theismann is a great holder and that Bostic is a heck of a snapper, because it is a three-man job. Here's Jeff Hayes. Duckett's waiting. Duckett at the 2. Duckett at reversing field to the 15. About 30 seconds left, half a minute. That'll stop the clock as the offense comes on for New Orleans as Lowry makes the tackle. You're right, though. He kicked it on a frozen Artificial rug in St. Louis.
Well, it was slippery. We saw him kick 4 in the rain and mud, I think, against Philadelphia at RFK.
I'm off track. In fact, Joe Bostic was funny when, you know, he came in and was looking at the surface, and he said, "Can you get it wet and let it grow out a little bit, because the Redskins aren't used to this kind of a place." Got an injury on the field. Let's see. They're getting special teams are off. Herberling now is marking off the penalty against New Orleans.
I think it was Hobie Brenner, the tight end.
Illegal block in the back. Number 50 on the kicking team. First down.
Hobie Brenner was the injured player, Brookie. He looked to be in fairly good shape as he came to the sideline.
Herberling says it was number 50 who gave a shot in the back illegally for the Saints. They got to be just flat mad. Half a minute for Guido Merkins. Drive play. Rogers to the 13. Growth calls a real quick timeout. Let's see if they stop it. 23 seconds. 22. It's not stopped yet.
Well, with no field position here for New Orleans, they just got to let it
and a young
run down
quarterback
and go in, right?
Against a team that can pick your pocket, right? Walking down the street. Some kind of a first half. A bomb, Weisman to Charlie Brown for 56 yards, and then they came back with almost another one, except it was debatable because of what some people thought was an out-of-bounds call. And you can see Bum Phillips is going to get some things checked out right now. Follow the coach.
The coach is on the 30-yard line, walking to the official. He's trying to get his attention, finally does. And the fans that you're here are telling Bum to give it to him. And he's just trying to find out what the call was. No, maybe he is giving it to him a little bit.
At halftime, he can do anything he wants. Out of the hands of the Saints. They're going to kick off. This is young Anderson, the left footer from Denmark. Jaquinto is back standing in the end zone. And boy, the crowd's going to get involved, so you people try to do the same. Oh, what a kick. Anderson kicks it to the back end zone line. Nick touches it down there, and he does. Tony Fritsch, the fellow that was kicking here, had one blocked and missed one last week and just got in his van and took off, didn't he?
This kid just kicked that ball 75 yards. King Hill said in practice the other day he kicked a field goal that, if it would have been just a little bit wind-assisted, would have been good for 80 yards. So he's got a cannon for a leg.
Here are the stats. You can see the Saints have only 29 yards passing. Boy, 198 for Theismann, who's got big numbers on the 2 bombs to Charlie Brown. Downtown Charlie Brown. Walker's in motion. Handoff to Riggins, who's been rather quiet. Riggins gets out for a couple of 3. As Dennis Winston makes the tackle. Used to watch him at Pittsburgh and played for Lambert when he was hurt and for Jack Ham when he was hurt. He came down here and right away. They got a big, mean guy that's sort of quick, too, and ornery. And I guess for a linebacker, you would know you should be just at least for 3 hours, right?
Well, he's been around a while, too, and that's helped the young guys that he's playing with, in particular Ricky Jackson.
Remember, the Redskins are 6-1, and they're already in the playoffs. The Saints are 3-4, and they're not in the playoffs. Here's Riggins getting outside. Good tackle by the linebacker as Winston makes his second tackle in a row. I would imagine Bum Phillips had a few things to say about a couple of things. Might have started with, we can't let the officials' flags bother us. We've got to come back out and be composed, huh? There he is behind some good blocking by that line. John Riggins has moved ahead of Larry Zonka, now the 7th all-time rusher. He's also taken over 2,000 snaps, which, gosh darn, that's punishing just thinking about it.
Franco Harris, Walter Payton, Jim Brown, and O.J. Simpson, the other 4.
Pretty good company, huh? 3rd down and 3. Monk's going down the middle from in motion. Theismann, though, doesn't like what he sees. He's going to run it out. He's not going to get the first down. Good chasing there by Derlin Moore. And I believe Bruce Clark's on the backside of the spread out.
Tells you something about the Saints defense right there. Way out in the flat, Derlin Moore, the nose tackle, and Clark, the defensive end, on the other side. Good hustle.
And now Jeff Hayes is back to punt, and New Orleans will get their hands on the ball again. Maybe Merkins will feel more loose now. He has started a game as a quarterback and completed a half. This is Groth, Jeff Groth, young man from Bowling Green. They said he's like Blitnikoff, except faster. Ooh, this is a beauty one. This is close to 5. At the 28, Groth. Oh, boy, good coverage by the special teams. Skins on top again. So from within his own 30-yard line, Guido Merkins will come back in with perhaps a couple of plays. I noticed that they send the plays into him. They give him some help from the sidelines, but he still calls it verbally himself. Huh?
And when Stabler is in there beforehand, they just let him call his own. It takes a little pressure off Merkins to have the plays coming in from the side.
Stabler went down with Harvey Martin. Sacked him a week ago. Left arm, forearm, and sort of the shoulder part, too. Here's the fake inside. Now the sprint out left. Guido trying to force it in and does. And Brenner, the big tight end, picks up a few yards and gets close to the sticks.
He got around that thing like a big amoeba, didn't he? Brenner did. This is what you were talking about in the first half, about how he just kind of envelops the ball, uses his body to shield the defensive back off, and makes the catch. And Merkins poured the football in there to him.
He plays like Rulin does for the Bullets. A big guy, though, and it looked like he was covered up. Olkowitz had pretty good position on him, it looked like. A 9-yarder, second down, and call it 1. Boy, if the Saints got a big play, they better get it in this quarter. The toss, back to Wilson. Wilson over the 40. First down. Jarris White in on the stop. This guy he went to Houston and backed up for Earl Campbell and came here and they got Rodgers. So, well, I'll play wherever I can. I'll block for Rodgers. Once in a while when Rodgers goes down, he comes on and he plays extremely well. The Little Shepherd College over, I don't know, is that down in Texas?
Somewhere, I think, in the southeast. I'm not really sure where it is. I think it's down there.
Shifting over into the over defense by the 4-man Washington rush. Buxton Company thought somebody moved in there. It looked like Merkins waited a little too long and might have moved something.
Number 66, offense, first down.
Considering the
You're still into that rule book.
Yes, all offensive players become eligible once a pass is touched by an eligible receiver or any defensive player. So that
66, offense, first down.
And Shepherd College is in Martinsville, West Virginia.
Gosh, boy, that's good coming up with that. Who'd you call, Rand McNally?
Got a call from the truck.
I know the school is closed the day after Christmas. I wonder where they got the information. First down and 15. The draw play. Wilson runs into a lot of trouble. That's a smart bunch of guys in the middle of that defense there. Darrell Grant used to be the offensive player a year ago, playing good, solid defensive right tackle.
They were worried about him coming in and playing out because they didn't feel they could do the job of defensive tackle. Number 77 Grant we're talking about was that they would lose him off special teams. He was one of the best special teams players.
That's the way you make it now, is to get on the special teams for a while. Here's Merkins going for the inside throw, overthrowing Kenny Duckett, who had to really jump. Merkins looked like he might have just loaded that one up a little too hard, too. Look at the size of that Brock, that big right tackle. He's almost 290, I think. A lot of number 1s, number 2s, and I think they had 4 number 3s in this last draft. So they're building with young people that are perhaps hungry, too, which is not a bad way to play football. Third down, tough call. 11, Merkins goes across, misses. Ooh. Jarris White with a shot to the receiver. Lindsey Scott, the rookie, taking that rap. San Diego, 23-13. Baltimore, of course, did get a tie this year against Green Bay. Third quarter. There's Guido shaking his head like that, like I either read it wrong or what.
But I think he has to feel pretty good for what he's done so far. He's got rid of the butterflies and ready to go, and he's been fairly successful.
Erxleben against Mike Nelms. Nelms, of course, has gone past Eddie Brown's return yardage record on punts. And Erxleben and Hayes have really been kicking. Oh, boy, this is tremendous. He got all of this to the 10-yard line, Nelms. Nelms out to the 20-yard line and dumped there. And I mean, that was some punt. Jimmy Rogers makes another tackle on his special teams. There's Russell. He was the player rep, and he grew up, they said, by having to represent his players in all the Union squabble. And Wayne Walker, New Orleans. We went down on Bourbon Street, which was reverently quiet on Christmas Eve, but there was a little Dixieland. We had a lot of great food over at your buddy Manally's place. But there's nothing like coming in this house, because this is made for football. I'm telling you, every seat is right on top of the action. First and 10 for Bison on first down. Joe, going a little behind. Washington, just behind him.
Well, he'd love to have that throw back. Washington ran a turn about 12 yards wide open and threw it behind him. Look at him talking now.
How about the block he got last week to get Washington in on that touchdown run? Huh?
He threw the last block, the key block on a touchdown run by Joe Washington.
What were they saying? They weren't going to give him a hog shirt.
Now, he wanted one, but the offensive line who they call the Hogs, you have to throw more than one block.
That's what Stark said, right? He said you got to throw more than one in your career to be a hog, right? There's no mud today. We're indoors. It's second down and 10. Heisman, he's getting a lot of time now. That's Charlie Brown run out of bounds at the 41-yard line. Frank Waddle trying to control a man that's, again, one of the most dangerous long receivers in the league is 87.
And this is just a marvelous throw by Theismann here. Good job up front, so he has plenty of time. They stalemated him right at the line of scrimmage. He's got all day. Nobody even in his passing lane right there, so he's got an open lane out here to Charlie Brown. Threw that ball a long way and put it in there on a wire.
Pretty good blocking, too, against that three-man front, but you don't send the linebacker. Those three guys against five get bounced around. First and 10. Throw and catch. Washington pulled down. Number 94 makes a super play, Jimmy Wilkes. From San Diego State. That's where Joe Gibbs used to be the coach and played.
Wilkes was a number 12 draft choice by New Orleans. They were watching a quarterback from another team. The scouts for New Orleans were watching the quarterback of another team, and they kept watching this Wilkes sack him. So when it came draft time, they said, heck with a quarterback, let's get the defensive end that was making all the sacks, and number 12, and look what he did right there.
That's a great story, isn't it? Good play by Wilkes. It's a loss of 2. It's second down and 12. That's Monk flying in motion. Here's a draw play. Quick draw. Good defensive play. Derlin Moore making a real good move. Going to bring up about a 10-yard go.
Derlin Moore, the big nose tackle, who used to be a defensive end here, moved inside, plays nose tackle. You've got to be a special person to play nose tackle. Not very many guys that play it even like it. But I asked him, I said, does he like it inside? He said he loves it.
You got to love it. He came out of Oklahoma, and he is the elder statesman right now with all these young people. Third down and 10. It goes in. A drop pass. Oh, he had it. Number 49 makes a good one. Art Monk is hit by Waddle. And Jeff Hayes will come on to punt from the 45. Our Saints are just hanging right close enough where if you make a big mistake, they think they can jump right back into it. Hayes standing on the 30. North Carolina. He even ran one time for 80 yards with a fake punch. You got to watch him. There's Grove. This guy does everything. Grove is standing on the 15. Here's Hayes. Oh my gosh. What a punting exhibition we're seeing today. Grove at 15. Give him a couple. Darn Redskins. Boy, they love that special team activity. Everybody gets in on a 41-yard punt from the line of scrimmage. It's 17-7 with 8:22 left in the third. Bleckner, our director, has you looking right out behind the Saints bench up into the beautiful Superdome. Well, they could play the Super Bowl every year, and there wouldn't be a lot of people known that come down to this great city and this great edifice to our sport. Here they come out. It's Guido Americans, who's been sort of quiet so far. He hasn't had good field position yet. It's first and 10. Ball's on the 17-yard line. The toss. Back to Wilson. Runs outside of Mendenhall and gets to the 15, and the flags are down. They're going to get holding on the outside there, I guess. Mel Kaufman finally made the tackle. But Mendenhall looked like he'd been lifted of his wallet.
He made the play, though. He got the penetration and made the back belly back. and fouled up the timing of that play, and Kaufman filled in and made the tackle.
Does the eye limit you a little bit about getting outside, completely outside, more than...
I think it does. I think it does because...
Holding offense number 67. Decline. Second down.
It's tough to get your lead blocker out there. A step or two in front of you from the I formation on wide stuff.
There's Big Stan, the Colorado Buffalo. Bowler, I guess. Good player, refused by the Redskins. Turned into second down. 11, call it. 4-3. The defense that you see by the Redskins most of the time. Here's Guido being chased, hit, and dropped at the 14-yard line.
Dave Butts was the first one back there, Brookie. Looked like no one touched him.
Grant and Big Dave came in there, the inside tackles. I wonder if they got a twist. Don't forget, here was that final score as the Cardinals, a real revitalized team this year under Hannafin, 24-21 over the Giants. They now have 5 wins. Anybody with the number 5 on their win-loss column on the W side, they're in the playoffs. Don't forget, next week, the first game after the NFL today, St. Louis against these Washington Redskins. Then the second game, Atlanta at New Orleans. You can see the numbers on Atlanta. They need one. And Green Bay, of course, goes in that other game. All on field. Good long throw, intercepted by Murphy, or is it? They're all tangled up at the 50. They're going to call it a catch by Richard Maltby. Good Lord give us and the good Lord take us away.
And Rich Matty took it away from Mark Murphy that time. Good job up front here. Now keep in mind some good pressure coming up the middle, but they picked it up and gave Merkins all the time he needed. Throws it down the middle. Murphy will come in from the left here. Has the interception. Now watch Matty. He'll pull it away from him just as they get to the ground.
The veteran from Penn State, who by the way is one of the most popular players in New Orleans history. As a special teams player, he is a legend. Great pass and catch. Monty. The reverse to Wilson. At the 40, got blockers. Hit and dropped at the 43-yard line by Bernardine. I think made the first contact and then finished off by Mel Kaufman. Any flags down there? Everybody's sort of grouping around. I don't see any yellow.
We talked about Theismann's block. Watch Guido Merkins now on this reverse as he hands off. There's the toss. Now watch him. He'll kind of linger around, and you'll see him get a block right there.
Ooh.
On number 76, Matt Mendenhall. That was the Springer. Vernon Dean comes up. The cornerback, number 32 right here, makes the hit on Wilson and saves a big play.
Boy, Vernon Dean is some cornerback. As a rookie, he has absolutely no nerves at all. Super play. Toss back to Rogers. Rogers storms inside the 40 to the 36-yard line. The Saints are on a roll. 17-7. 5.5 minutes left in the third quarter. A lot of time.
Jimmy Rogers, a speed guy, a kickoff returner. But with George Rogers out in there, getting a lot of playing time today.
Rogers is some load when he's playing. He loaded up 166 yards against the Cowboys last week. But not able to play today. Hamstrings pulled. First and 10. A quick out. Oh, take it. Lindsey Scott gets to the 25-yard line and almost broke it.
Terrace White hanging on by his fingernails against the rookie, Lindsey Scott. Saved a big play there.
He is not the blazing burner, but he's a very fine athlete, right, from the Dogs, from the Bulldogs.
Merkins now short drop. Seems like that's the best for him, an out pattern, and watch this. Scott almost made an inside move and came clear.
It was good for a first down. Rogers inside the 20. Jimmy Rogers storming inside the 20-yard line. See where they place it. Olkowitz making another tackle, maybe about 4 in a row.
Jimmy Rogers had over 100 yards against the Redskins when they played in 1980. He was a free agent pickup by the New Orleans Saints. He was cut by the Bears, played in Canada. Edmonton released him.
4:17 left in the third period. A 6-yard pickup. The toss. Back to Rogers again. He gets hit hard. Gets down inside to maybe the 18-yard line. But Trey got 1 yard. It's going to bring up that 3rd and 3. If you're fortunate and you're good, you make a lot of 3rd and 3s. This is where the execution of a young team.
How many people they have in there right now? Excuse me, Rick. They have 12 men on the field. Now here comes somebody else.
There's Guido Merkins, the quarterback. He got him out. He called the time. Didn't like the front he saw. Pretty smart move. He'll go over to Bum and Stabler. We used to always have a lot of offensive linemen or defensive linemen try to get into these conversations. I never could figure out why. The numbers are all 3. It's in the 3rd period. Capital. Your Redskins are already in the playoffs. But few people elsewhere, the New Orleans Saints might be in their first one ever. Since 1966, they've never been there. A 9-play drive. And Guido Merkins' first big start at QB. Here's the drive play. He's being rushed. Trying for Wilson, number 30 on the sideline.
That was play action off the power I with 3 backs in the backfield, and Washington guessed and blitzed, and they guessed correctly. Neil Olkowitz really leveled the quarterback, Merkins, just as he released.
What's he got some lint there? What's he pulling out of his pocket? Quarterbacks are different people, too. We're talking about Guido Merkins, the young man that is starting at quarterback. They're thinking about Morton Anderson is going to try the kick. He's got the big leg, as we told you. Tony Fitz just left town last week. A 36-yarder. Wow. A 36-yarder, and the crowd comes to life. The kicking game. It can kill you, or it can be oh so good. It's 17-10. What a thrill. The young man from Denmark, Michigan State, kicked a 36-yarder. 65 yards at 10 plays to get that 3-point rocker, and this is from the end zone. Anderson's kick. Oh, it's a tremendously high kick. 2 yards deep in the end zone. Jaquinto to the 17-yard line. Great coverage. A couple of fights still out to the 30, but no yellow flags down. Warren made the tackle. Billy Phil tells me the tight end got down and made the tackle. Here are those 10. Washington, Dallas already in. Green Bay, Atlanta, St. Louis. 5 wins, they're in.
Couldn't have planned it much better. There's just going to be so many important games next weekend.
How about next week? You got this team, Saints, have the Atlanta Falcons coming to town.
San Francisco won today. They'll need a win next week.
They don't like the Rams anytime. There's Warren's in motion. Here's the play-action pass. Theismann going down the middle for Art Monk and overthrowing him. Boy, the coverage was very good by Waymer, the Notre Damer, who made sure the officials saw that he did not touch anybody. Boy, Art Monk had it under gear that time. He was gliding. Play-action pass, and Waymer stayed right in there.
We're looking at a couple of good offensive lines today, and the only time there's been pressure on the quarterback this afternoon is when there have been blitzes. You go at them straight up, and both these offensive lines are more than holding their own.
Well, the Redskins have come together so much as just a real good clutch team. 2nd down and 10. Theismann dumping it off. Get some flags down. Joe Washington gets to the 28-yard line and then gets a headache, and there are 2 flags dropped that may be holding. Kovacs and Poe. This might be the wildest crowd we've seen all season. Day after Christmas, and they've come out and filled this beautiful house up. Well, they got a good young team in this town. I know John Meekum Jr.'s got to be so happy. He and his Dad, late John Meacham Sr. waited so long to really get a balanced program. They got a beauty going now.
I think both teams do. Both organizations are headed the right direction. Washington in the last couple of years tremendously improved. New Orleans going the same way, and they're building like Bum Phillips said last night. You know, we're not building to win a game. We're building for each season.
Illegal motion offense to be declined. Holding offense number 63. First down. Second down.
We bring up second down and 19. That's okay, Mr. Herbling. We made a couple of mistakes up here today already. Second down and 19. Uh-oh. Tom is still talking. Inside handoff. Little Joe gets out to the 17-yard line. A little pressure being exerted now by the Saints defense. You can when you got somebody way down. Derlin Moore making the tackle.
They've got their nickel defense in now. That's 4 down linemen and 2 linebackers. And you can run a little bit on that, especially when those defensive linemen are expecting pass and they just lay their ears back and head upfield on.
Van Zandt is the defensive line coach, the young man from Nebraska that did such a good job in the Big 8. Third down and 10. A 9-yard pickup by Washington. Theismann, a lot of time. A catch short of the first down by Art Monk.
And a good defensive play by Russell Gary, Brookie, the strong safety, youngster out of Nebraska. Timed it just the way you want to. You can't play it any better than this defensively, unless you get in front of it and make the interceptions, and sometimes the defense you're in even prevents that. But watch Russell Gary. This guy was the strongest defensive back in Nebraska history. He bench pressed 330 pounds and really put on a lick that time.
What a clutch move by the defensive back. Here's Hayes at the 10. Grote is back inside his own 40. This is not the best kick. He's got to get away from it now on the rug. You don't know what it's going to do. Wow, out of bounds at the 40-yard line. First and 10, New Orleans. 2:12 left in the third period. It's Friday, New Year's Eve. The holiday action continues as the Iowa Hawkeyes take on my old buddy Johnny Majors' Tennessee Volunteers in the 15th Annual Peach Bowl. It should be some contest. New Year's Eve. That's about the best thing I can think of to do on New Year's Eve. You don't have to drive or anything, you know?
I'm going to remind you of that.
Get our limousine out of the garage. First and 10. Thompson. Not much. Good defense by the Redskins. They were waiting for something to try to stretch them out. Andre lost shirt and everything. You don't fool some of these guys. That's Kaufman and Olkowitz and Malott are all steady eddies, you know. They just show up and give you 4 good quarters, and they're not horribly flashy.
The linebackers are getting better and better as they play. Number 57, Malott, is fast becoming one of the good ones.
Toss back to Jimmy Rogers. Oh, he has jumped back on the 35. What a great move. Dexter Manley, the young man that we got to know a little bit the other day, and is he an interesting young guy? Does he want to play football?
He loves to play, and he said that the toughest thing for him has been playing the run. You wouldn't know it by that play he just made. He was a linebacker in college, and before he got here in the pros, never played in a 3-point stance. So he said the tough thing for him was making the reads and closing down. You don't do it any better than he just did.
Said the first time you heard about the down lineman was when Pettibone told him where he was going to play.
Right.
Third down and 15. A big one for Guido Merkin. Guido going to the deep side. This trying for Scott. A punting situation. The officials now are being told that illegal procedure against New Orleans will be obviously refused, I would imagine. And the punting man, the Texas Longhorn, Erxleben, will come out. He's a very fine passer.
Illegal motion offense number 86. Decline. Fourth down.
Erxleben was a very good passer as a prep athlete, but a 17-10 ball game in the third period. And 15 yards to go. I doubt if this would be a good time to have a fake. There he is. He's big, too. Nelms is waiting, of course. Mike Nelms. Even then ran him back in Canada where you can't even block for him. This is sort of an average kick. Low, might be too low. Helms gets hit hard, but gets over the 35-yard line, and bodies are flying again. We've still got the fourth period left. 40-yard punt. A return of 10 by Mike Nelms. Don't forget Tuesday night, Denny Crum's Louisville Cardinals. He takes them right back to the pavilion against UCLA, the Bruins. Home of the NCAA Championship, CBS Sports.
Bruins just lost a tough one a couple days ago. Double overtime to Maryland.
UCLA still has one with the smooth-looking basketball player that can get it done. There's Gumbo, number 5, I think. That dog's name, I mean. Washington being hit back on the 29. Gets away. To the 33. Kovacs making the tackle there. Seconds are ticking off in this third period of a real good heated contest. Boy, we all went through the 8-week strike and we said it would never come back. And you got coaches like Bum Phillips and Joe Gibbs and teams that'll give it like this. Don't you ever think they don't want to play?
A lot of people thought that this perhaps might be a rockin' game for Washington since they've already clinched the playoff spot. No way. It's been a very intense struggle, and they've been in it 100%.
Theismann's gone all the way below the post. They want that home field advantage, and they got to keep winning to get it. That's the end of the third quarter. You don't have to worry about the windage in here. Theismann is looking at He is Snake Stabler. One of the classy guys. Showed up last night in those white ostrich boots, didn't he? He looked like a riverboat gambler.
Clean as a board of health, huh?
And there's a big fella, George Rogers, last year's Rookie of the Year, and of course, 1,600-yard rusher. He's got the hamstrings. And here we are for the fourth quarter. Dumped off beautifully to Monk. Oh, what a good open field tackle. Oh, Russell Gary made another good play. Is he a good tackler? You said he was strong, didn't you?
Oh, it's strongest one I said in Nebraska history. Look at that little guy right there, and he's bench pressed 335 pounds. He has 3 sacks coming into this game. They use him on a safety blitz, and he goes in there like a Tasmanian devil.
Ah, it brings up a third.
Or a Smurf.
Oh, we exchanged presents the other night. Smurfs were given out to people, alligators, all kinds of crazy things. Books, hats, and banners. Third down and 6. Looks like somebody jumped. The blitz is on. Just over Virgil Say. He's yelling for an interference call on Johnny Poe, but Johnny Poe ignores the action and just returns. No yellow flags. Pretty close. Jeff Hayes will come in. He's been a very busy punter today. 6 punts. Look at that average on 6 kicks. Yeah, if the kickers were going to hold their contest, they'd do it in the Super Bowl. Just come out here and kick. They don't even care about the rest of the game. There's Groth. Jeff Groth, who averages over 7 yards a return on punts. Got to be careful. The Saints tried to get it. They didn't get a roughing flag, and Groth fumbles it at the 29, but I think recovers his own fumble. They went for the block, made some contact, but the official didn't drop the flag. 14:06 to sort of warm into it. There are 14 minutes and 6 seconds left in the fourth period. The team has lost 3 in a row. 3 tough ones in a row. Tampa Bay and Dallas. And the Atlanta Falcons just blew their doors off. But they've got a good young squad, and they're in there. They're in the Superdome. First and 10. Guido hands off. Jimmy Rogers out to the 34-yard line. Boy, he hits the hole fast. He is fast. Kaufman making another tackle.
You talked about they lost the game to Dallas last week, Brookie, and we watched that game. At one point in that contest, New Orleans had 160 yards total offense to 20-some for Dallas. That was in the first half. A lot closer than you would think. They have been a good football team, even sometimes when they lost.
200-some-odd yards rushing. Oh, good defense. Good recovery that time by the Redskins. Actual people here today, 48,667. Tickets sold 53,000, so a no-show factor of 45, 28 the day after Christmas. Yes, I do think the people down here love their football. Third down and 6. Big year. Second year of Bum Phillips' reign as king of football down here, and he's got him almost knocking on that playoff door. Here's a spread out by Merkins. Dumps it. Oh, couldn't quite get his hands on it. Wilson had to turn around. That might also be one of the weak points of the I formation. A tough angle to get a pass to the back coming out. Russell Erxleben almost as busy as Jeff Hayes. In fact, busier. 8 of them. Look at that average. And some of those have been up near the roof and near that 6-sided television screen. Deep men, of course, for Washington. Just deep man, number 21, Mike Nelms. Looking for a break. Either team is sort of sparring right now. A low kick. Nelms will return this one. It hung up and slid sideways. The flags are down. Nelms gets to the 35-yard line. Good return by Nelms. A 47-yarder from the line of scrimmage, but sort of a low kick. Russell would rather get a little bit more height on those. Redskins detected for a block in the back. A player is down.
Okay, we're getting to the point in the game right now where defensively New Orleans, trailing by 7 with 12 minutes to go, might have to take some chances. They might have to do some gambling on defense and do some blitzing and some safety blitzing to try to cause a turnover or create a big play situation for them. If they stay consistent and stay in an even front, you're getting to the proportion of the game now where with that good offensive line of Washington, they snap the ball and hand it to Riggins, and he gets 3 yards on you, and then he gets 5 on you. So you got to try to bust in there and make things happen. Riggins is over this year, just gets stronger as the game goes by. We said that. I think 40-some% of his total yardage this year has come in the fourth quarter.
Illegal block above the waist, number 89 on the return. First down.
Number 89 making the young Okie the running back. It looked like something in the lower leg, but he's sitting up there all right. Doesn't look like they haven't been taken right in for x-rays or anything, so obviously we hope he's going to be all right. Continue to play. First and 10 at the 21. There's Jimmy. And remember what Wayne Walker told you. That is a good offensive line, and they sit on that ball. And they need a 20-second clock to get that bunch to throw the ball up sometimes. Here they start. A little quick defensive play, and Washington is tripped up at almost the line of scrimmage by Ricky Jackson. There's a guy that used to play on the opposite end from Hugh Green, and some people thought he was at least as good as Hugh Green.
Well, he closed it down that time, made a fine defensive play, and then leg whipped Washington to make the tackle.
Second down and 10. Don't forget, this is a 7-point game, a possible overtimer. And there were some plays in the first half that defy description. We'll show you a couple of them. Second down and 10. The drive play to the outside. Joe Washington gets a good block on the outside and picks up 6 yards. Waddle makes the tackle. They're going to call the good block. I guess for blocking from behind, maybe clipping. I thought that was a good crackback. It was so good that it was maybe illegal. Waddle not only made the tackle, but got hit from behind. Let's see what the call is now. Crackback receiver on that side, and let's see if Mr. Herberling will give it to us. It's against New Orleans. So the block was not only good, the defensive play was bad.
Unnecessary roughness, number 74, going to run. First down.
It's Sterling Moore, the nose tackle. That's got to be the first one of those he's ever had. I can't remember him getting a penalty.
It's Ricky Jackson on the last play. Pretty good hit at the line of scrimmage. That's a way to keep from getting downfield. Rookie and legal, too.
Wow, that's a chuck and a half. Washington hit from behind and dropped at the 42-yard line as Rob Nairn really unloaded. Back in the second period, the whole game sort of pivoted on this job. Number 7 throwing. Charlie Brown trying to catch and pull with the defender.
If you haven't seen it, watch the left leg now of Charlie Brown. Outside down is the foot, but the ruling we got from halftime from the NFL was the receiver can come back on the playing field if the defensive back has touched the ball.
They called interference on Poe at the same time, which sort of was a nebulous call at best, but it struck. And it was good for a touchdown. Here's Theismann with a lot of time now throwing back into the middle and hitting Warren inside the 40 to the 34-yard line. Don Warren just got in there and died and became a vacuum.
And we mentioned this is the time of game where you usually see John Riggins in there. Joe Washington is in at running back for Washington. He started that play by making an excellent block on a blitz pickup. Ricky Jackson came in. Washington did a good job blocking him. That enabled Theismann to get outside and get a second look. Look at little Joe. He's just over on the left of your screen. You just see him up there in the three-point stance right now. He'll pick up the blitzing linebacker, knock him up inside. Theismann runs to the outside, gets a second look, and finds the tight end Warren wide open over the middle. And Warren's the kind of guy, if you get it close, he's going to come up with it.
He's got to be giving away 25 pounds, doesn't he? That 24-yarder. Theismann to Warren. Here's Joe Washington. He's hit hard. Stays on his feet for a yard and a half or so. Nairn and Derwin Moore digging him there. He is tough. Lose his life.
Wiggins has been carrying a big load this season, carrying the ball about 25, 30 times a game, and he wants to save him a touch.
And a good fast track here in the Super Bowl. Theismann, he hasn't been touched down. He's okay to run. You got to put him down. He's out of bounds. He will have lost some yardage, but he didn't lose his life.
Well, does that tell you something about Theismann's athletic ability? He tripped and fell, kind of stubbed his toe on his turf, was down, and it was like a rubber ball hitting the ground. He bounced up. Of course, you get guys like Clark and Derwin Moore bearing down on you. I suppose you would get up fast.
He made a quick bent leg slide and came up running. The plays are coming in. Coach Gibbs. Remember last year they didn't have much going. They stopped the turnovers. Won 8 of their last 11. This year they come out, won 6 or 7 and trying to nail down that home field advantage. That means RFK Stadium in Washington. Large play indeed. Third down and call it 15. Theismann's on the move. Theismann is tackled at the 28-yard line. A great defensive play by Russell Gary. And he came over a blocker to get it.
We've seen such good hitting this year in defensive secondaries around the league. Washington has one of the best, especially at the corner position with Vernon Dean and Jarris White. Russell Gary's been impressive today. Theismann coming out on the scramble now. Watch the throw on the block right here by Grimm coming in front of him. Gets the block on Paul, the linebacker. And then Gary comes up and makes a tough play.
But Gary can play in my secondary, a 9-yarder. Now the field goal by Mosley would be attempted from about the 33-yard line, so it's a 43-yard attempt. He's perfect so far today, and of course he is 22 of 22. Virgil Say is leaving. He was the one that made the block. Gary went right over the top. This is really a good football game.
We found out that Jimmy Rogers' bruised leg will not return.
Here's Mosley with Theismann holding. Bostic is the snapper. Has been on all 22. It's down. It's up. Best way to play it is to hit it right down the fairway, isn't it? 20-10. Mosley has struck again. Almost surreal, but yeah, that's right. This place was done in 1975. And the Super Bowl comes back here in 1986. God willing, they'll all be here to take care of it. Here's young Hayes now kicking off, ducking his back, and Andre Thompson. Oh, he's kicking it good. 5 yards deep in the end zone, and it will be touchdown there. And Guido Merkins will take over at the 20-yard line. Stabler has not played a play. Of course, he came in with a bad arm, nor has George Rogers. But the Saints managed to stay close. Look at this one in the fourth period. The Eagles 21, Dallas 20. That's at Texas Stadium. 28-14. Minnesota getting back into the game. It's hard to catch the Jets if they get that far. Interesting what our friend Dexter Manley told us that his idol was sort of watching Gastineau make the pass rush yesterday. Here's Merkins back to throw. Set up. A lot of time this time. Oh, off the hands of Andre Thompson. To say that was catchable is the understatement.
Pretty good throw by number 19.
Good blocking up front.
Andre Thompson right there, former Green Bay player. Had it open on a corner pattern and couldn't come up with a catch.
You see Marty reach over, just give him the thing like, don't worry about it. You know, if we caught all of them, they wouldn't pay us anything. Or they pay us all the same, whatever that means. Second down and 10. Four-man rush, and they'll be coming. The draw play, Wilson for a loss. Good defensive play by that Redskin up front bunch. Dave Butts, number 65 in your program, but not anybody's heart. He's the nicest, most gentle guy, except from kickoff till it's over.
His defensive coach, Richie Pettibone, said that he's having the best year of his career.
He's got that shoe, that strange shoe size. There's Richie Pettibone. Butts' shoe size is, what, 12?
12 and a half, but there's 7 E's behind it.
7 E's.
How wide is that?
It's a square block. Guido Merkins, being chased and dropped. Good pressure, and the sack goes as number 57 came from one side. That's Malott, of course, the Penn Stater. He had 3 last week against the Giants.
272s working against each other right here at the right corner of your screen. Number 72 for the Redskins, Dexter Manley against Leon Gray, former All-Pro. He takes it to the outside. And then you see Darrell Grant getting hung up inside.
McGee was in there, too, the pass rushing specialist for the Redskins. Used to be with New England. The 4th sack. And they're punting from the end zone. Laban is back, standing right on the end of the Saints from the end zone. There it is. Oh, this is a tremendous punt. Nelms is chased back to the 39-yard line, his own. Nelms gets one block, cuts back, runs into a lot of people before he gets to midfield. Good coverage. And Laban really got off a moonshot, a 55-yarder from the line of scrimmage, so you can tack on about 15, and that one was hanging. As people move in for Sugar Bowl, and then of course the bowl game here next week when Atlanta's taking on this team. But if you ever come to New Orleans, don't find a good meal, you're just not looking.
That's true.
Illegal block above the waist, number 70 on the return. First down.
7:33 left, Walker. In New Orleans, as they say down here in New Orleans. But it's fantastic. It's 20-10. The Redskins haven't played over their heads by any means, but they've been pretty steady. And they've gotten to breaks, and good teams always do. First and 10, Theismann. Handing off to Washington. Hit hard at the 40-yard line and knocked sideways as Dirk Winston comes in. That was some contact. Off an artificial rug like this, you can get tremendous leverage, and it is impact at the maximum, isn't it?
So I think that's one of the reasons that we're seeing so much of Joe Washington, because he's quick, and this is his kind of turf. Riggins is the kind of guy that likes the outdoor going. There's little Joe, number 25, and over from Baltimore.
Joe Bostic
number
is
2,
down.
right?
There's Bostic, the center. Boy, he hasn't missed many snaps. The Eagles cut him the last cut a year or so ago, and he just went into Bobby Beathard's camp and flat and made it. Became a great offensive center. He's sort of a stabilizer. He and his brother both come from Clemson. Of course, Joe plays in St. Louis, and Jeff is the man we're looking at right now.
And their offensive line coach Joe Bugle at Washington said that Jeff Bostic right here has a chance to become one of the very best centers in the National Football League.
Under his own power. Don't forget, next week, the the NFL doubleheader. And it starts with the NFL today. Don't forget with Brent Nerve and Jimmy the Greek and Phyllis and all. Then St. Louis against Washington. It's always a scrap, but this year it really means a lot, doesn't it? Then it's Atlanta at New Orleans, right here. And Green Bay goes against Detroit. They've never liked one another. Weak side handoff. Little Joe reverses his field. He likes to do this. Washington, oh, he's taken out. Inside New Orleans territory, inside the 30, and stepping out at the 20. And jumping into the stands.
Hey, Ricky Jackson has been playing a good game, no question about it. He made a young linebacker mistake on that play. Enable Washington to cut back. You'll see Ricky Jackson. Now he's out of your screen right now on the left, but you'll see him pursue down behind the line of scrimmage. See him coming right here. He comes out of control right there, enables Washington to cut back and turn a loss right here into a big gain for the Redskins.
Amazing. I saw him in the first half against Dallas a year ago, and when he was in the game running like this, they had Dallas hanging on the ropes. Number 25 is special. First and 10, inside handoff. See, that's Harmon. That's Clarence Harmon. Oh, he's to the goal line. Did they give it to him? Clarence Harmon's first carry. The quick draw outside. Johnny Poe made the tackle. It's going to be right on the line.
Saints took a chance that time, Tom, and they blitzed. They blitzed up the middle. Clarence Harmon, who's been a big play guy for the Redskins all year long, bounced it out. Once he cleared the line, no one was there. There was a safety blitz, and he popped outside, and he's got free going. Harmon coming into this game and gained over 7 yards every time he carried the ball this year. So besides Riggins and Washington, they got him. He's a clutch guy.
Good, smart players. And as you said, the young team, the Saints, had to take a few risks and a few gambles. And most of those are backfiring right now. First and goal. Riggins to the door, but he doesn't knock it down and get in there. I don't see any arms up. He tried the second surge and still didn't make it.
You're not going to keep him out of there too many times from this close with that offensive line in front of him. Takes him a while to get warmed up. His teammates couldn't even call him the Diesel because it takes him a while to get warmed up.
The Diesel? We had him as the aging bull one time. Now he's the Diesel, right? He's a heck of a player. Number 44. The Saints are tough against the rushing touchdown. But that's the 8th one against them this year. Finally broke it through there at 230 pounds. Redskins are clicking along, using everybody. There's the coach. During the strike, Joe Gibbs taught Bible study to a bunch of kids that had sort of lost their way a little bit, you know it? He went out and spent his time on Sundays working with kids that were sort of less fortunate. Quite a guy. Quite a guy. Coach Joe Gibbs, and there's Riggins going off.
And they really count on him towards the end of ball games.
Tough time to get hurt, too, huh?
Many times a tough time, but when you're winding down at the end, you like to get out of there. Can't tell who it is.
It was on that last goal line plunge when Riggins went up just a touch off the left side. Jeff Bostic left the offensive center a little bit.
Dennis Winston.
Dennis Winston, a linebacker who's played so well, especially here in the second half.
There's Riggins again on the touchdown. Straight ahead blocking over on the left-hand side by Russ Grimm, the left guard, perhaps our best offensive lineman, and big tackle Joe Jacoby. The Hogs, they call it offensive line, and you saw why. They were all down there scrambling around.
Bugle even got them those shirts. I wouldn't mind having one of those. That may be a collector's item. This team might go on in and play day by day and win the big one.
The offensive line all has those T-shirts that has the Hog emblem on them, and they gave one to number 44, John Riggins, because he gets some tough yardage and scrunches around in the mud also, they said.
Winston's still down. Like a fine wine, Mosley gets better with age.
We talked about the efforts of Riggins and that offensive line up front of him and how they just keep cranking it up as the game goes on, and that's the reason right there that they call number 44 the Diesel. 43% of his yards. fourth quarter when the game is on the line and they need ball control.
I think the most underrated thing about the Redskins, though, really is their defense. I think they just play as well as they can play to the detail, almost as any team I've seen. There's Winston coming off, former Arkansas All-American and the Pittsburgh Steeler. Bordelon is going to be coming in. It's a tough game. Here's Mosley now, who's been perfect on the field goals, and it looks like perfect for the day. 5:31 left. It's now 26-10. Mark Mosley skips off. Scoring drive, 5 plays, 63 yards, with Washington's big turnaround run coming over into Saints territory and set it up. So we took them 2:02. Then Riggins sealed it off with a 1-yard smash. Don't forget, tonight on CBS, 60 Minutes, incredible. Archie Bunker's Place, Gloria, the Jeffersons, One Day at a Time, and my favorite show, Trapper John M.D.
You do. You like those doctor shows.
Yeah, I'm big into those shrinks. The ratings show that a lot of people watch these shows, you know. Everybody wants to be a doctor, I suppose. Jeff Hayes. Boy, his kicking off has really helped Mark Mosley. He no longer has to strain his leg with the long kicks. Boy, this is a good one. 5 yards deep. Taken by Kenny Duckett. Duckett gets away at the 15-yard line. He is trapped, and there's a yellow flag thrown right with the players. Greg Williams was down quickly, like a swarm of bees. A 20-yard return by Duckett, and a slight disagreement about who has the ball and what have you. We used to say if it wasn't for the huddle, there'd be a fight on every play. But everybody goes back to the huddle and you forget what you were mad about.
That's right.
Grabbing the face mask against the Redskins.
Now here's a tough situation for Merkins and the New Orleans Saints. Rookie, you know, a young guy, not established, not comfortable as he will be sometime in the future running a ball game, but he's down now at the end and behind in a have-to-throw situation. Washington knows that. Everybody here knows that, and it's very tough on a young guy.
It's a test, isn't it? I remember when John Unitas used to be the backup quarterback. They put him in when the game was out of hand one way or another. The secondary used to love it, and then all of a sudden he started games.
A lot of people think it's easier to come in and be the relief guy, the mop-up guy, but it's better to have your own game.
Face mask, number 89 on the tackle, 15 yards, first down.
Number 89, the Redskins did that. That's Alvin Garrett. Used to be at the Giants, a very fine run-back man in his own right. He went after that other run-back fellow. Guido Merkins. Dancing, moving, stays in there, close the and completed the 40 for what will be a first down. 5 minutes and 8 seconds, and the clock is running. He'll be very careful with the timeouts now. Boy, Bum Phillips and company have done some job at this team. He doesn't look like the Saints team that I saw through the 70s. This team looks like they know what they're trying to do.
But much more physical than the New Orleans team I've seen in recent years.
Merkins going for all of it. Just overthrowing the 30-yard line is Larry Harvey, a big fellow from Jackson State. The AFC standing, the only guaranteed people are the Los Angeles Raiders, Mr. Al Davis, and Cincinnati, Mr. Paul Brown, 6-2. The rest of them are still locked in. 5-2, look at this. The Jets 5-2, San Diego 5-2, Pittsburgh 5-3, Buffalo 4. Only two teams definitely out of it, I suppose, are Baltimore and Houston. Blitz is on. Merkins is down. Dexter Manley. He came in as the leading sacker for this team. The 5th sack by Washington. Don't forget, 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety following this game. You'll see all of 60 Minutes. Guido Merkens outside, overthrowing Wilson on the far sidelines.
If he's done anything wrong today, it adds that he has been overthrowing people. He hasn't put the ball in bad places where it's going to be intercepted. He's been careful about that. He's been a little heavy with the arm and overthrowing a lot of people.
I tell you, the Washington defense, Richie Pettibone has a bunch of intelligent players, and they love to get you. And maybe the greatest thing about them might be that they're not all super talents.
Well, they're real aggressive, though. They come at you and force things and do a lot of blitzes. Richie said if he was a basketball coach, he'd full court press all the time. And he takes that theory right into this game. He goes after you.
That's how they beat New York, too, by bringing those blitzes, safety blitzes, and et cetera, et cetera. Here's Erxleben. Oh, man, that's another punt. What an exhibition of kicking. Nelms back at the 15. Not the 20, 25. 30-yard line. And a few just fly up the field. A 54-yard punt from the line of scrimmage. And a good return by Nelms, as Ed Simonini picked up from the Baltimore waiver sheets, made his tackle in special teams. In case you might have missed some of the action around, don't forget the NFL Today always leads us off, and they're always here when it's over, too, to bring you up to date. Irv and Brent. The Jets. Wow.
Just teasing Minnesota for a while, weren't they?
Look at there, the Eagles. Can't believe it, but they're still alive. 24-20, leading Dallas at Texas Stadium. Tex Ram must be in a booby hatch by now. Handoff. Joe Washington. What a player he's been today. Reggie Lewis making another tackle. The Raiders, amazing team, boy. They're strong and physical and tough. 27-3 over Denver.
See where a couple of their great veterans, Upshaw and Shell, announced their retirement at the end of the year. The Raiders I'm speaking about.
Look at those other kids like Long and Matt Milne. They all look like they've been there for 5-10 years, don't they? Joe Theismann's gone all the way. As Wayne Walker said, the Redskins didn't come in here and act like it was all sewed up. They came in to win the game, and they've done that. Harmon to the outside. Time remaining, and they will run that clock out.
This is what they've done so well all year long, is control the football. We mentioned at the top of the show coming in that they had only scored 3 touchdowns in the last 17 quarters, but they had controlled the ball in all of those games, moved it up and down the field. One on Mosley's field goals, one with defense. It wasn't they weren't moving the football. They were just playing under control. Of course, they'd like to have had the touchdowns. We also mentioned they were playing on bad fields, and that cuts your offense down when you're playing in the mud and the snow and the rain.
You know, Gibbs made a funny statement, too, after they beat the Giants, you know, with the field goal and by a point. He said, these guys won't quit. You know, they simply will not quit. And they came back and beat Philadelphia in overtime the opening game of the season. They could have quit easily or not quit, but he figured it was over until another day. And they have a strange attitude of thinking that they're all winnable.
Well, I think they realize, like he said, that they have to scratch and fight every week, because all the coaches around the NFL say now you just don't have a tremendous physical advantage over anyone anymore, and every game is a real battle.
Boy, that's the truth. Bud Grant made that very clear to us, didn't he? 3 timeouts left for the Redskins. I doubt if they'll use much of those. New Orleans still has 2, so Guido Merkens is over on the sideline, probably with Snake Stabler and Bum Phillips. Old Bum wears pretty well, though. He runs his golf tournament down in Port Arthur every year and helps Bob Hope with a school for underprivileged kids, handicapped young people. Somehow, I think that he'll survive to fight another day. 2 minutes left. It's 27-10. Private use of our audience and any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the written consent of the New Orleans Saints and the National Football League is prohibited. I did that to show you how responsible I am becoming now, a man of basic stability. It's 27-10. The Redskins roll at the St. Louis Football Cardinals next week. That's going to be something. Theismann is 14 of 24, 264, and 2 bomberoos to Charlie Brown. 57 and 59. Clarence Harmon. Bill Friel, my spotter, my able spotter, points that out. And I have never seen Harmon do anything but play well. I know it must be an awful thing to always be the last guy, but he has never done anything but done what they told him to do.
We saw earlier the game that you talked about against the Eagles. That was the opening game of the season. He came in a couple, 3 times on third down situations, made some good catches to keep drives going.
He's ready to play. You know, he's ready to play. If you need me now, Coach, he comes in and runs his first time he touches the ball. It's almost a touchdown.
You've got to have those people on your team.
Chicago 27-26. Wow, Rams battling back. Quinto into New Orleans territory. The Saints burn one of their 2 remaining timeouts, I suppose. Joe Theismann and the Redskin team is really pretty healthy after the number of games they've played. Don't forget, the NFL today starts it off with Brent and Irv and Jimmy the Greek and Phyllis. NFL today, and then St. Louis goes against Washington. St. Louis at 5-3, the Redskins at 7-1. Not quite, but almost. The NFL today, then it's Atlanta at New Orleans, 5-3, 3-4. Saints, 1 4-man win team. They slip right in the bottom of this rung, and they're still alive. In Atlanta, you know how they are.
Anybody with 3 wins is still in there, Brookie. And if Philadelphia can hang on and beat Dallas today, that'll help the Redskins, because with the home field advantage, the game next week against St. Louis for the Redskins, I mean, if they'd win that one, they'd get the home field advantage all the way through.
1:13 left. Most of the people have gone back out into this River City here on the Mississippi. Hand off to Harmon. Runs the outside. Quick draw. Boy, he gets dumped hard at the 40. Both teams are still laying it on one another. Rodney Lewis making the tackle there. Boy, there have been some tough calls, but the interference call now is so important one way or another, offensively or defense, because it brings it right to the shadow of the goal post all the time if it's brought in down there. And now you can touch them except the one shot, the one chuck inside the 5-yard line. And I know these guys personally, and they're tremendously conscientious, and they do their best. It is just almost an impossible job, and most things are debatable. You get people of this size and speed. Frank Warren making that tackle on Harmon. Clock is ticking now. Down to 16. Well, that's a stupid statement. It's always ticking if you don't.
Yeah, they'll just let it go. They won't have to snap it again.
They'll let it go. The Saints again. Don't forget, the executive producer is Terry O'Neill. Senior producer is Charles H. Milton III. We know him as Red Eye. Michael Burke's our producer. Michael, thanks for a great Christmas, buddy. Peter Bleckner again painted the pictures. Steve Wegman and Lance Barrow, we know him as Samurai Barrow. All the other people that have made our visit to New Orleans so enjoyable. So the Redskins win it. The Redskins